guys aware that we almost see no titties in movies anymore, and we only see dicks? Hey, anyone notice this? Yes, I love titties. Big old titties.
We're back, son. We're back. And I have to say something before we get started. Craig says Camelot's not a grifter. He's the real thing. I actually am a grifter, Craig. So come on now. Catch up, baby. This is the whole point of YouTube, man. What do you think this is? Welcome to the show, GOTHIX. I'm so excited.
Thank you for having me. I need to know more context about your amazing dance moves that I saw in that intro. You know, I've never seen moves such as yours.
You never seen somebody twerk before?
Not in the way that you do it, okay?
What are you trying to say? You trying to say it's adequate or it's not adequate?
It's something.
Oh, at least there's that. Thank God. Thank God. No, that's what I used to do. I go to the club, right? Because, you know, as a single man, you know, I just go in the club in my 20s, fresh face before the beard times, before 4 times. And I would just, you know, there's all these guys there because, you know, I'm in Alabama, right? So all these guys have their flannel on and their trucker hats, and they're all sipping their natty lights and shit at the bar. And I got my Jack and Coke, and I'm in like my Fallout shirt, and I'm just twerking. And the girls are all hanging out with me.
That's good.
That's good. The dudes are over there with their dip in, and they're all pissed at me. And I was like, dude, I'm not afraid to be myself. All right? I just want to shake my ass. All right? I'm like a white girl, right? It's like, all I want to do is I just want to shake my ass. I don't want to be in a relationship anymore.
Live your life, all right?
I don't need anybody right now until I'm in my 30s, and then I am scared because the biological tick be ticking, son.
Yeah, and then I make a TikTok about it, crying.
Oh my God, yeah. Did you see that article? There was an article where there was a lady, she was like 50 years old, and the article title was, I left my husband at 22, and it was the biggest mistake, or my biggest regret of my life, because by the time she was in her 30s, she was like, all right, cool. Like, I want to settle down. But she had this problem where she would always stalk her ex-husband. And she saw him get married again and have kids. And like, she's like, he's so happy and I'm so miserable. And I'm like, she's like an executive at some company in New York and she hates her life. And I'm just like, you did this to yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I did not see that, but
that's what happens, man. That's what happens. It's feminism. Ruined everything.
Yeah, it could be feminism. I'm not sure. It could be something in the water, you know? I don't know.
Fluoride.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I was a little crazy. I'll admit. Like I did some stalking at one point. I'm not proud of it, but yeah.
No, we always stalk. You stalk like an ex-man?
Yeah, an ex-man. Like I pulled up to his house.
Oh, damn.
Yes. I can sympathize, but I'm also in the same way. I'm just like, yo, snap out of it. It's the culture. It's like if you're always surrounded by crazy people, you're gonna be crazy.
Yeah, dude. Like, now is the stalking based out of jealousy?
No, the stalking. Well, for me, the stalking was based on my life is over if you don't take me back.
No, dude, I totally get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally get that. So my first girlfriend ever, okay, like my first sexual relationship, not my first girlfriend, but you know, I was a fat kid. I looked like a ham planet my whole life. So eventually I lost weight, which is great. And I had my first sexual relationship at like 18. And I dated this girl for like 8 months, and she was awful, by the way. Like, she was a psycho. She would like slap me and punch me as hard as she could because I may have accidentally scrolled by a female's picture on Google Images. Like, it was wild. And obviously, I was like, okay, this isn't normal. You know, even though I'm new to this isn't normal. So I broke up with her. But like a few weeks after I broke up with her, I was like miserable. And I was like, I wish I could be with her again for some reason. I don't know why. And I was real sad about it, being a bitch. And my mom like consoled me and was like, honey, you just need to play the field. She's like, you just need to like hang out with a bunch of girls. And I was like, it was like, I never thought of that for some weird reason. I was like, oh my God, Mom, really? And then I just started hanging out with girls and it fixed everything. And then I met my ex-wife and then she left me.
Oh no.
Now this was like 7 years later, so it's fine. It's totally fine. But yeah, that's where Tinder came in, which I want to talk about real bad. Holy Ocean said, Cody tried to teach me to twerk. It's tough. Dude, it's like playing the piano. Once you understand like playing the bass, like the bass notes over here, like your left hand, and then you can play like the melody with your right hand. Once you separate those two in your brain, you split it in half, you're like, oh shit, this is way easier than I thought. That's how twerking is. Once you get arch your back and you can pop that shit, you're good. You'll never have to worry about it again. You just have to work on the efficiency of the pop. That's kind of how it. So yeah, but some of my friends are way better than me. And I mean, guy friends. No, like, dude, I don't know what it is. Is it white girls? Because I've hung out with 2 black girls like in the last couple of years, but it's mainly white girls. I mean, I'm in Alabama, right? So it's mainly white girls, and none of them can twerk. Not even one of them. It's like they're broken. Of course, the black girls can twerk. They can twerk upside down and shit and fly. Like, but white girls can't twerk at all. And I'm like, why can none of you do this? It's so weird.
I can't twerk, but I also haven't tried. So, and I don't want to.
You might just be like, oh shit, what?
So I'm not sure if this is a genetics thing. So I wouldn't know.
Oh my god, it's fun, dude. Oh, I haven't now. Granted, look, I haven't done it in a long time. Resident Evil Fan says too. My favorite YouTubers, Let's Reach, Solid Snake, dude. It's up to you guys. Fight Milk and Solid Snake is on the agenda. Thank you, I appreciate it. Mick Sandman's here. What's up, dude? So, you said you tried out Tinder and it didn't work out for you. Tell me about your Tinder experience.
It was just, I mean, what do you expect out of Tinder? Okay, let me start from the beginning. I thought in my naive mind, I was going to find the love of my life on Tinder. And I would get married, have kids, start a family, a white picket fence, and that this man was somewhere in Tinder. No, ma'am. I was finding a lot of men that were in relationships.
Yep.
Yeah. And, you know, I think I went on like 3 dates, and then I'm like, you know what? I know what this is. This is not, I am convinced that you cannot find a actual relationship on these dating apps, even Tinder or any of these other ones. Like, I've never had any success doing that. Yeah. I found my now husband at a call center when we were both working together. So I'm like, I didn't even need the apps, but no, there's some sketchy people on there. Yeah,
I was one of the sketchy people. I was one of them.
You were sketchy. What did you do?
No, I didn't do anything crazy. So look, man, I downloaded Tinder like the day my wife left. So my ex-wife was like, I'm leaving. And I was like, oh shit. All right. And she left. So I was like, well, I don't know what to do. Like I have not dated anybody since I was 18. And I'm like in my late 20s. So I'm like, all right, download Tinder. So I downloaded my Tinder, and I was like 6% body fat back then. This was back in my bodybuilding, like really, really cut days before I started gaining muscle mass and started getting really like wide. I was like mid 20s, right? Or late 20s. So I was like shredded. So I was like, oh shit, I'll put my abs on here. Cause like if you have a Ferrari, you're not going to only post pictures of the inside. You're going to post pictures of the outside when it's clean and waxed. So took my shirt off, had my abs out, and I took a picture, and then I had a few random pictures of me just like at work and stuff. And I started, swiping on people, and I was matching with like 20, 30 girls a day. And I did not know that was not typical. So my friends told me later, and a few of my friends that were doing it at the same time would never get matches, like ever. But for some reason, dude, I was getting matches every day. So I didn't know what to do. So I would just message these girls and talk to them. And I didn't really care what the outcome was because I was not in a good place. I didn't care about anything. So I was like, hey, you want to come over to my house, drink tequila? And I've never drank before, by the way.
Uh-oh.
I didn't start drinking alcohol until
and so you start with tequila.
Yeah. Well, I started with Jack Daniels and then I went to tequila. And they were like, every single time, with the exception of 3 girls out of, I don't know how many, over the 3 years period, like only 3 times did these girls say no. They would come to my house, and at like 9 p.m. at night on a Friday, keep in mind, I didn't have any lights on in my house at all because I never used my house for anything. I was a single ass dude, right? So my house was dark except for my freaking game room. So these girls would show up, knock on my door in the pitch blackness, and I'd open up and be like, what's up? Yeah, and thinking I would have never do that if I was a little tiny female. because you like that you could get stabbed in the ass, and not in the good way, in the bad way.
Yeah, the bad way
with knives. So so it was like a culture shock for me. And I would sit on the couch, and I was really nervous at first. So I'd sit on the couch, and these girls would be beside me, and these girls were like out of my league, in my opinion, because I'd been, in a relationship so long. I was like, I don't think I'm very, enticing. And within like 20, 30 minutes, these girls would always like make a move on me. And I was always like really awkward, just sitting here like drinking. Like it worked. But you're right. Every one of these girls were the same girl. If you asked them what their interest was, it was Netflix and hiking or wine. Every single one. Netflix, hiking, wine. Netflix, hiking, wine. Every one of them. And I was like, damn. So after like I did that for 2 years, I got really bored of it.
Yeah.
And I just stopped. But to be honest, Tinder, as far as Tinder goes, there was a few other apps I used back in the day. But Tinder is straight up like piss or smash, the app.
Yeah.
All it is. It's just bumping uglies. There's no more substance to that. And I feel like these girls, if they just came to my house and just jumped me, they must be doing that to every guy they meet on Tinder. Freaking wild, man.
Probably. I mean, yeah. The other site that I was using for a while, have you heard of Plenty of Fish?
Yeah.
Okay. So I did an experiment back in the day. I said, you know what? I'm going to make a profile, and I want to do an experiment to see how many of these guys are actually looking at my profile before they send me a stupid message. So I uploaded my pictures, and I wrote the most obnoxious bio about myself, where I was talking about like me not taking a shower, me, farting, just like doing a variety of just like grotesque things. And guys would message me like, baby, you sound so amazing. I would love to take you out. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you clearly didn't read past the first sentence.
Yeah. It's like, dude, I haven't bathed in 6 years. No, that's what I did though. So maybe that's the way to success is I cared so little about what happened on the app. My bio said like random stuff. It was completely random. And girls would just message me. Now, granted, look, I don't think any of them ever read the bio. Women have a lot more options. They can just be like, I don't like his face shape. I don't like his eyes. I don't like his nose. Like immediately, they don't give a damn about anything else. And then maybe if you pass that test, they might read your bio. And my bio always said some damn nonsense too. Like something redonkulous every single time. Wicked Virtue, what's up, baby? I hope your stream went well. I come in and you guys talk about twerking. Also, hi. I love that GOTHIX is here. I agree. Thank you. I can afford my dude. Thank you too. I appreciate you. No one ever has to super chat me, you goofy bitches. I say this all the time. Billy Hatcher says I plan to watch the Mario movie this week, mostly because of Chris Pratt. So Chris Pratt's my biological brother. Not a lot of people know this, but yeah, I think he does a great job. You see, everybody was really, really pissed at that he voiced Mario.
Yeah, why? I don't get it. Like,
I don't know. I think it's because now look, I gotta preface this with something. I'm not religious in any way, shape, or form. I just did never really. I mean, I grew up in the South, and I was forced to go to church for most of my like young years, and it just never really, I just never really identified with it. So I just haven't really thought about it since then, since I moved away. But Chris Pratt's a Christian, and for some odd reason, I don't know what it is, they like Hollywood and like tabloids lay into his ass because of that.
I mean, it's kind of obvious though, because like, yeah, Hollywood doesn't like someone that can't be easily manipulated. Because if you think of the majority of celebrities that are really popular in Hollywood, what is it? You gotta be gay, you gotta dress in drag, you gotta be pro all of these pro social justice, whatever. Like you gotta just support the current popular thing. And believers in Christ, they follow God. They obey God. They don't obey man, and they don't like that. There's something intimidating about someone that doesn't have to answer to the internet. Yeah,
they will quite literally want to fire someone like Chris Pratt because he's a Christian, and their justification is, well, Christians believe that being gay is bad, so that's that automatically he's a bigot, right? Yeah. And He won't. He'll be like, no, I don't think that at all. I'm just, I just believe in Christ. So there's that. So he's a Christian, and they want to fire him in every role he's in just for that reason. But you got Ezra Miller kidnapping people, assaulting people, talking to underage girls, doing all this crazy shit every other day of the week, getting arrested, charged, all this, and he still is in the Flash movie.
Because he's a part of a protected class.
Yes.
He's non-binary.
Yes.
And you should be a little bit more respectful with your criticism.
No! I refuse! I want to slap him in his stupid, perfect looking face. I hate him. No, dude, I don't get it. I think I say this a lot, but I think the pendulum is swinging, I feel like it's swinging because there's actors coming out right now and they're like, yeah, this is bullshit. I'm tired of this. I think Sylvester Stallone did it. Mark Wahlberg did it. They're all like releasing videos like, look, I'm tired of this shit. This is nonsense. I want to be left alone. Right. And you can't really be left alone anymore. Right. Because so that's me. I'm a redneck man from rural Alabama. So what do redneck men from rural Alabama want? To be left alone. That's all I don't really care what you do. If you like sitting on PPs, that's great. If you like having your PP lopped off, dude, go for it. Lop off all of them. It's all, dude, that's cool. As long as you're of age, right? But now it's like children time. It's like, so technically we can't have equal rights. Now I'm speaking from a place of the movement, right? We can't have equal rights unless you let me put my 7-year-old on hormones. I'm like, all right, now you done fucked up. Like, look, I was able to give you, I was even letting you chop your penis off. I don't care. Dude, you want some hormones? Put more in you. Put them in you. Have at it, dude. I'm for it. I'm totally cool with what you want to do. As long as it's not affecting me and children, I don't give a damn. But of course, we have to go to children now. That's like the natural move is to go to the children now, right? Yeah. What is your opinion on that?
My opinion is it's all nonsense, and that's the result of not following God and following culture instead. How many people do you think, if you had to guess, how many of these parents that are willingly chopping off their child's genitals and pumping them with hormones, how many of them do you believe follow Jesus or call themselves Christians?
Okay. I would like to get into this a little bit more because I probably have a different opinion on this, just a hair than you do.
Go for it.
I will answer your question and say probably zero.
Probably. I would also agree with you.
I agree with that. But I also think there's this thing where there's always been this conversation for a long time that people that aren't religious don't know, or people that aren't religious or don't have religious values would not know that it's morally incorrect to kill someone. Therefore, that's why they would kill someone, because they're not religious or not a Christian. And I don't kill people because I don't want to kill people, right? And I'm not religious. So,
right.
What do you think about that?
I can answer that. So, so you would be right. Like I think most people know that something is wrong. Like you don't have to be religious to know that murder is wrong. Right. The problem is that we don't have a standard to justify that our stance on that is correct. And you can see this with, like, for example, the topic of abortion. You got some people that say abortion is murder. You got some people that say that's not a baby yet. Yes. So what standard are we going by this? Clearly, you got the pro-lifers. Most of the pro-lifers are people that follow the creator, and the creator makes the rules. So with that in mind, what was the other part of the question? You don't need to... I had a point. I just had a brain fart. See, the time is catching up to me.
What are you in? Are you in your 30s?
I'm in my 34. I'm 34. I'm going to be 35.
That shit happens to me every day.
Ew, I'm also an ex-pot smoker too. So my brain is like.
I remember I went down the stairs yesterday. It was like 3 a.m. and I was like, oh shit, dude, and I go down the stairs and I'm standing in my kitchen in my boxers and I'm like, why did I come down here? And I just went back upstairs. I know. Man, there was probably something really important.
Yeah. So, okay. So let me go back to, I think I got what I was going to say. So most people don't, sure, you can say that something is wrong or something is good or whatever, but without a standard beyond civilization, you don't have any means of justifying it. It's simply just an opinion, which is why now, if we're talking about the transgender thing, it is of their standard that society has determined it is morally okay to chop off the body parts of little boys and girls.
Yes.
Where do they get that from? It's because of the science. We're following the science.
Yeah.
So essentially what you're saying is you're following people, and people have the potential to lie and manipulate and basically set their own standards. And so that's why it is so important for people to understand that without a standard by God, if left to our own devices, someone who has a persistent atheistic worldview, that gives us Hitler, Stalin, Mao, all these evil people. And even though, whenever I say this, someone will say, well, I know killing is bad. That's great that you have self-control, but a persistent worldview that doesn't believe in accountability after death means that that person doesn't have any boundaries to say, this is wrong. And I know it's wrong because God says it's wrong. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, because you're saying that it's, maybe I'm not religious, but I grew up in a value system that is ingrained in, the people around me, maybe in culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that makes sense. But then you got to look at, what about places like Finland that are extreme, like almost entirely secular, yet they have almost no homicides or murder, and I don't think the trans movement even is really big or exists there at all. So like, how do people like that continue to thrive?
Sure. So you have to also think of a couple of things. You have to think of the cultural differences. Like someone in Finland is going to live a lot differently than someone who's raised in the Bronx.
Yes.
Right. You have to consider that. Then you also have to consider how much of that information is actually truthful. Because I know a lot of people, for example, that used to live during the communist revolution in China, like the Great Leap Forward, and these people, they know what their government did to their civilians, but we're only getting a portion of that information because the government says, no, we want our image, our Chinese image, to be very pristine. Yeah. So we have to consider how much of that information is actually trustworthy and not just fudging the numbers to make it seem like everything is great. It's sort of like the gun debate. Well, let's look at like the UK. They don't got guns. Okay, but now do the numbers for the knives. How many times people get shanked over there?
You see that video today? People were getting out of the car, and there was like 9 dudes dressed in black and they had machetes, and they were just hitting this dude.
I didn't, but I believe it. I believe it. Yeah. So we're only getting a portion of the story. So I don't go by that.
Speaking of China, I don't believe shit. But remember when COVID happened, and everybody, well, of course, Trump was like, it's a China virus and all that, which was true. And China was releasing their numbers and like, yeah, we only had 7 cases yesterday. It's like, eat my ass. You ain't slick. I see you mowing down people in the streets on freaking security camera, and you're telling me you have 7 cases in the whole country? You lying. Yeah. That's what we're doing. Real quick, Phoenix Sage. We like the super chat, you boy. Well, I appreciate that. Back in the gym, baby. Currently getting used to being back in it. Lacking a good program. Got a good program to follow. I sure do. DM me on Twitter, and I will give you a good program to follow. Thank you so much for the first pink boy of the night. Oh, my God. Get the hell out of doggone it, you man. Thank you so much. Love you, Phoenix Sage. I have to play the music, man. It just makes me feel things. Thank you, Phoenix. Real quick, let's get over to Cassius Cleo. Remember, kids, the food pyramid was the science. Only in the word of God. Thank you, Cassius. Appreciate you for your first orange boy today. First pink boy as well. Will Spain says, GOTHIX in a feigned posh accent. You mean to tell me you were a partaker of the good old Mary Jane?
I read that? Can I read that in the posh accent?
Yes.
You mean to tell me that you were a partaker in the good old Mary Jane? What would Rick James say? Cocaine is a hell of a drug. I don't know if that was posh, but I made it up.
I don't know what posh means, but it sounds right. Thank you so much, Wolf Spain. God, I love Rick James. Well, I say I love Rick James. I guess I do love Rick James, but I also, that back in the day with the Chappelle Show, God, it was.
I love the Chappelle Show. So good.
God, it was so good.
So good.
Man, and that's one good thing about Dave Chappelle is no matter what time period, every time he has a special, he don't give a shit. He just says the things, and it's great. And I'm so thankful, because otherwise, you know how it is. You know how when one of his specials come out, it's like the end of the world. And they're just like, he hates trans people. And he quite literally in his entire spiel was talking about how he had a great friend that was trans that ended up dying, and it upset him.
Yeah.
And he defended that person. And it's like, no, we ain't going to watch that. We're just angry.
They don't care. It's because people they get their identity from problems.
Yes.
And if there are no problems and there's no dragon to slay, they have no identity.
Yeah. You got to make your own issues. There's not enough. What is it? It's supply and demand.
So it's a supply and demand. Yeah. And the thing is, because you sort of alluded it earlier with the whole Christians hate gay people and Dave Chappelle hates trans people.
Yeah.
And there's a problem with that statement. It's because people don't even have a clear definition of what hate is.
Yeah.
In the same way that they don't have a definition of how to define what love is. Like you hear it all the time with like the whole gay movement. Love is love. The hell does that mean? You can't define a word by defining it with the word. So what is love, right? So what is hate? It's the same thing. So now hate is just you disagree with me. You're intolerant to this behavior, and if people don't recognize that their behavior isn't their identity, then yeah, it's going to seem like the world is against you. But it's your behavior. That's not you.
Yeah. The scary thing is the fact that over the last couple of years, there are several words in the English language that Webster actually changed the definition for to fit certain social movements, which is freaking terrifying. Remember, like racism no longer means being prejudiced to somebody based on the race. Right. Racism now means a structural or entity that is created to oppress historically and systemically people of a different color. And it's only I think that the definition for racism has only been that way for like 4 or 5 or 6 years now, when Webster officially changed it. They also changed the definition of vaccine. Yeah. It's no longer a preventative. It's just whatever, you know?
Right.
And these are the people that are deciding this. And you said, you know, what is hate? That's the scary thing on policing language, correct? Look, people say some stupid shit. I don't care. You know, I know I'm in a different place than a lot of people are, but the words don't affect me. But I understand a lot. They do affect a lot of people. The issue is when you start policing that and, you know, charging people with hate crimes based on words, like, oh my God, I misgendered somebody. And they say, well, that's hate speech. Who gets to define what is hate speech? That's the issue, because
you see the problem.
Yeah, because at any point, like it could get to the point where if you look at somebody and they think you rolled your eyes or something, they're like, oh, hate speech, you're going to jail. Yeah. You get charged with a felony now. Like, it's so loose. That's why you can't police. I mean, look at Canada, man. That shit's crazy. Look at the UK. They're still getting arrested for social media posts for accidentally misgendering people. Right. Yeah. It's insane.
This is what happens when you let culture define its terms. Because I see some people in the chat saying that it's wrong to say that you need God to define morality, but the alternative is you allow culture to define everything, including what we deem as hateful. So you may at one point think it is morally wrong to sexually do things to little children. You may think that's wrong, but what happens when culture shifts and definitions are changed and laws are changed, and now that thing you thought and you believed to be wrong is now okay? There's nothing stopping you. There's nothing stopping that from happening now, because we're going based off culture.
And what is being put in place to prevent it? So, you know, there's, I think Tennessee and Florida, or it might be Tennessee and Texas, might be all three of them, are putting laws in place, especially Tennessee, to prevent these kind of things from happening. And all these laws is you can't operate or give hormones to underage children, right? That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, you can't teach children about these kind of things before the grade of 3, which is, I think it should be higher, but whatever. That's, you know, reasonable. So you can't teach these people this. And you also can't, you know, have pride flags and all these kind of like social movement flags, like just displayed everywhere. Correct. You can't be overtly about it in school. That's the entire law that's being put in place. And people are claiming, like Lizzo, she tweeted out after Tennessee did this, that Tennessee is trying to ban trans people.
Oh, she's so stupid. I hate the wordplay. I hate the wordplay.
She purposefully and knowingly, like everyone that, you know, it leans on confirmation bias and wants to change people's minds, she purposefully leaves out all the details to make it look like if only you looked at this statement. And a lot of people do. A lot of people are stupid as shit. Like, you got to think that the vast majority of people, they don't have time. They don't care. They see a statement, they get angry, right?
Yeah.
So they read that and she's like, oh, they see it and they're like, oh my God, Tennessee's just banning. I can't believe this. It got passed. Wow. Oh my God. But they don't look it up at the actual details around the bill that is passed. That actually is very reasonable when I look at it, you know, and I don't have a problem with trans people at all, but I also don't think children should be involved. And then that's where everything starts to spiral out of control because no one wants to talk about it. They just tweet out, oh, these people are trying to ban trans people. And like normal people that don't want to look into the issue, they get outraged. They're like, wow, I can't believe they're doing that. But if you showed these people the bill, 2 sentences, like the actual important parts of the bill, they would be like, oh, well, that doesn't sound too unreasonable. Like, but now you have all these people that are just outraged because people can't be bothered to really look into anything. And should they be required to? Because, you know, we don't have a lot of time in the day, right? So that's the whole issue.
Yeah.
It's really, really dumb.
Well, yeah, these people, I mean, we sort of encouraged or cultivated a culture where people they do the minimal amount of research. Like news headlines in particular, I forgot what year, but news headlines weren't always a thing. They introduced that, and before those headlines, people would actually have to read the entire article to get the gist of what it is that they're reading. Yeah. Now you just scan the headlines and you think or just listen to a celebrity or an influencer to know what's up. So I'm actually making a video on this topic on how this, I am of the opinion that the trans movement is a Trojan horse, as well as a lot of other social justice things.
A Trojan horse for what?
A Trojan horse for opening up the gates of hell. Well, correction, the gates of hell are already open, but the Trojan horse is propping it up a little bit more, the trans rights. So I am of the opinion. Now, well, before I get into this, I'm going to ask you a serious question. How many viewers do you want to risk losing on this channel?
All of them.
All of them?
Yes.
All right, that's what I love to hear. Let's go. So I am of the opinion that some things are better left not touched. There's some things you cannot and you should not mess with. Yeah. And you stated that you believe, okay, if you want to chop your pee-pee off, but leave the kids out of it. I'm not going to force anyone to do something or not do something, but I think the mistake was saying that we should even offer transgenderism surgery as an option in the first place. And I could say the same thing about, like, you know, how gay marriage came to be. When gay marriage first got introduced, what did you hear a lot of people say? This is going to lead to
a slippery slope.
We're going to lead to that, right? And look where we're headed, right? So it starts by saying we should offer this thing because their feelings, they feel bad, right? Their feelings. But again, if you have a society that isn't following a moral arbiter beyond civilization, we're left trying to just figure things out on our own. And if we go based on feelings, you have the slippery slope. So my stance on this whole trans thing is these trans rights would have never been a conversation if these people, and I say this out of love, if these people learn to accept the way that they were made. If they learn to accept themselves instead of thinking that if I just get this surgery and I just get these hormones and I just get these pronouns and you affirm me and diversity, inclusion, you prop me up. If I got all those things, it would make me feel better. And that's where the slippery slope for this conversation started. And so the Trojan horse, let me give you an example of this. Sure. Is look at the trans women in female sports conversation.
Right.
So they passed the bill. Biological men can play in female sports. So now you have the conversation of people saying, well, this biological man, he has a different makeup than this woman. He has a different build. He's faster. He's stronger. So now that conversation can be used to create a solution. So now if we're saying that this guy has a different body part, then clearly the most logical answer would be to give hormones to people younger and younger and younger. So that way they can bypass surgery, bypass puberty, so they can go into the female sports. Essentially, not only are you sterilizing people, you're also going after free speech, because now saying that trans women are actually men, that's hateful. So now we got a free speech situation, and now every time there's some type of let's say a shooting at a gay nightclub or a gay pride parade, it is implied that there was some type of motivation behind that. So now we got to take away the guns, because there's a lot of hate crime towards gay and trans and LGBTQIA. And this is all because of feelings. And like I said, if people just learn to accept themselves and not feel as though gay rights is the equivalent to someone tolerating my behavior, this could have all been avoided. I'm not saying you don't have the permission to live your life in the way that you choose, but the slippery slope comes from you need to affirm, tolerate, and accept this. And if you don't, that's hate speech, that's bigotry, that's violence. And that's where we are now.
So exactly. Now, look, and I don't, like I said before, I don't have any problem with anybody doing this. And I think, like what you said, the biggest issue is coming from one thing. And there was a lady that was actually interviewed recently, and she's a doctor, a psychologist or something. And they asked her, how many sessions or how much time is it required? Okay. How much time is required for you to recommend a double mastectomy to a 13-year-old girl? And the lady responded like without missing a beat. And she was like, oh, all they have to do is say the sentence, I feel like a boy, and I'll recommend it immediately.
Yeah.
There is no law in place to prevent this. We got to a point in human history that we never thought would happen. Like we just never even thought about it. So there's no laws in the books to prevent it. And in my opinion, there should be avenues you have to go down. So obviously you have to be an adult. And then you go through like tons of therapy sessions. You talk to people. You try everything possible to, fix how you're feeling. And if you can't, then at the very end of the process, you have these alternative methods like, what is it, gender affirming care or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see that as an issue. But the issue is, that's all being bypassed, especially for children, because the healthcare industry relies on these people. I mean, what would be better? Fixing the person's issue or having a patient for life with hundreds of thousands of dollars?
For them, having a patient for life.
So that's where we're in a sticky situation, because doctors are going to side with whatever the money is. And that is by operating as fast as possible, keeping people on hormones for the rest of their life. And also it gives them job security, right? But what would be the answer? So you said we started, it started with gay marriage, and then we kind of we don't know where do you even stop? And I got to preface this with, I have no problem with gay marriage at all. Like I said, I don't care. Like, as long as if you want to do what you want to do, that's great. I have no problem with it. But how do you know where to stop? How do you know where to be like, all right, well, operating on a 7-year-old is not okay. And then that's where I'm like, okay, we got to stop. But there are still people out there right now, and there's a lot of them that all think, oh, it's not far enough. It's not far enough. We need to implant wombs into children. It's just going so far. And I don't know how we stop and when we stop and what's going to make us stop.
Sorry for laughing. I don't think that, not to blackpill anyone, there is no amount of legislation that can be introduced to fix society as it is. As far as like slowing this train down, because you're asking where are the lines will go as far as the government wants it to go. Just ask China. Just ask any of these other events in history where there was mass genocide and atrocities. The line stops when they say they're done. And it is no wonder why, if we're talking about communism and Marxism, they don't like a civilization of people that adhere to authority beyond the world. So if you believe in God, they don't like that because they want to be the God, right? So it will stop. One or two things will happen. It will stop when the government says we're done and they introduce more propaganda to move people like chess pieces, or it will stop when people recognize that we are screwed without God. we're screwed, honestly. And I've been sitting here because people ask me all the time, when will things get better? And I'm like, it's not. I'm just waiting for Jesus to come back, but it'll be fine. Just buckle up. But that's where we're at, though.
I kind of feel the same way in I guess from a more secular standpoint.
Sure.
I feel like we're fucked regardless, because you can just look at it. The best way to learn that we're screwed is look at an ad for the military in America and look for an ad in the military in Russia.
Right.
That's how you know we're fucked, because the military ad in America is like two like butch women making out, and then like a trans person putting their makeup on in the mirror and crying, and then it's like, join the military today, and you're like, what the fuck did I just watch? Was this a Lincoln commercial? Was this a Hyundai commercial? What the hell? And you see Russians, and it's like, oh, become a soldier, and he's like shooting a gun and flexing, and his titties are shredded, and he's like, yeah, and he has a beard, and he's manly.
Right.
Like, okay, yeah, that's what I want to be, the manly guy with the beard. Like,
So not to interrupt you, but think about that for a second. We have a culture that's saying guys can be women, put on a dress, use your pronouns. You're actually a woman now. And you got other countries that are saying, no, we want more masculinity. What does that look like to you? Put two and two together. What does that look like?
Yeah.
That looks like we're going to invade your ass.
Yeah.
That looks like, hey, by the way, give us your guns. Your men or women. We're going to invade your ass. And yeah, things are not looking good. And, and again, I know some people in here are not going to agree with me on the God thing, but let me break it down like this. If the most important thing in my life is God, so I live my life for him. So he's at the top. He's the priority. So everything that I do has to be in the way that he wants me to live. Now, someone that doesn't believe in God, you still have a void that you have to fill. So what is that priority? For a lot of people, their priority is money. And this is why a lot of people will lie. A lot of scientists will lie about this transgenderism surgery and stuff like that. They don't care because that's their God. And so a lot of the trans folks that say, you know what, conservatives and the right wingers, they don't deserve rights. They don't deserve respect. Yeah, we should be violent towards them. It's because transgenderism ideology is their God. That's their priority. Yeah. So if we're not unified on a single priority, which should be God, everyone else is going to make a God out of something else, which is why I say we're screwed without God.
Yeah, well, so that's a great point, because you'll notice, especially nowadays, that if you disagree with somebody politically, even, they get extremely violent. And it's not, they don't get violent because you're disagreeing. They get violent because you're disagreeing with their entire purpose. And it feels like for them, it feels like an attack more than it does a disagreement. So they're like, oh, you're attacking my entire way of life, which, like you said, is their God. So that actually makes a lot of sense, because people get freaking crazy, man.
Yes.
They get absolutely insane over that shit.
This is why, if I say, like, I try my best to not use the term trans people. Like, obviously I say it here because to make the distinction, but I like to say trans doesn't exist. And people think you're denying my existence. And it's like, no, listen to what I'm saying. You're here. I see you right in front of me. You're a human being. but you're still here. So I'm not denying that you exist. I'm denying the concept of trans, because what is trans? It's a label to articulate something, and that something that we're articulating is someone that's struggling with their identity. So regardless of that struggle and regardless of the surgery and the affirmation and all that, you're still a man or a woman in the way that you were born. So really the trans label is not necessary, and it's like an added layer to someone's identity that if it's not there, all of a sudden you're trying to erase trans people out of existence.
You know what's weird to me? The thing that's weird to me is trans people in general have existed for a long time, and no one really talked about it nor cared. You know, as long as you were living your life and whatever, no one really cared. Now also these people, they usually passed because they lived their life in that way. But now you have people that quite literally, it'll be like a 48-year-old bald man with a beard, and he'll like dye his chest hair pink and wear a thong and be like, I'm a woman now.
Yeah.
And that's where it starts to get a little ridiculous. And of course, that guy gets arrested like 4 times for masturbating in the girls' locker room in front of women. So it's like, it starts to get a little muddy. No one really cared about it until people started freaking the fuck out. Right.
Yeah.
And you can tell immediately. I mean, look at the dude that works with Mr. Beast. He came out as trans the other day, or recently. It may not have been the other day, but he came out as trans, and his social media following and everything that in existence in his life, as far as content creation, is like times 1,000, right? And people are like, yeah, he's getting canceled for coming out as trans. I'm like, if you mean he's getting canceled as in getting more views, more attention, and more sponsorship opportunities than ever in history, then I guess, yeah, he's getting canceled. There is so much positive attention from companies and corporations from this. It's an attention thing. I mean, think about it this way. Your name is perfect for this. In the early 2000s, when you were in school, there was your cliques of kids, and everybody was pretty similar. And then there was the Gothic kids, right?
Yeah.
When I was in 8th, 9th grade, I was a Gothic kid. So I had long ass hair, man. I painted my fingernails black and shit. It was crazy. I had like belts and Jinkos on. So I had I was a Gothic kid, and there was all the Gothic girls, and they all dressed the same, right? But when we hit 9th grade, they took their, they wiped their eyeliner off, and they took their nails off, and they all became kind of like preppy girls, all of them. And they never looked back. It was for them just a fad for them to fit into their clique at the time. They were trying to find themselves, and there's some of them that still are that today. And hell yeah, dude, I'm like a redneck guy. So like that's been my fad forever. And the fact of the matter is that same thing. Now, this is my opinion. I could be kind of off base here, but I think that the movement, it's the same as being Gothic back in the day, but now you're trans, because 20%, by the way, if you look at boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, and millennials, less than 1% identify as trans. 20% of Gen Zers identify as trans now.
Sure.
It has to be a fad at this point. There is not that many people with gender dysphoria.
No.
It's actually quite rare. So what is happening? It is the social media like clout, the attention that comes from it. Some people are obsessed with attention. They will do anything to get it. Look at Dylan McCovney. Dylan McCovney is obviously a flamboyantly gay man and was his entire life. And now he's just like, I'm a woman. And like, every skit he does is a complete mockery of women. It's obvious. It's like, yay, I'm putting on pink today. Women love pink. Huh? Look at my hair. Oh my God. Like, this is how women act, right? And it's like, no, women don't act that way at all. You're acting like a 13-year-old kid on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Like, it's acting like a girl, Yeah. And that's what it's all based around. It's based around attention. It has to be. Now, like I said, I could be wrong about that, but it feels like a lot of it is. And I know there's legitimate people out there suffering from gender dysphoria. There's people out there that have transitioned. They're living their life. They just want to be left alone. But the vast majority of people that are allowed are fucking up everything for the rest of the people. And now they want to operate on kids. And it's just now everybody's pissed, like me, because I didn't care before. And then all of a sudden this shit started happening,
Yeah. So I will agree with you to an extent. I think it is a trend. I think that there is a deeper ideology behind the trans, like with the goth thing. It's funny because someone made a thread about me on a Reddit last year
Yeah.
where they were like, look at this goth chick, this GOTHIX chick. There's no conservative people in the goth community, and to my knowledge, I didn't know that there was an ideology attached to an aesthetic, but apparently to these people there was. So I don't think it's quite the same, but I will give you a different comparison. I think the transgender ideology is comparable to how it was common for people to cut themselves when they were depressed.
I remember that.
And people and when I was in high school, it was a lot of people. And what would happen, at least for the people in my circle that would do it, is they would get swarmed with love and sympathy and empathy. We're sorry. What can we do to support you? You're cutting yourself. It was an attention thing. And it clearly was a way for them to cope with whatever was going on psychologically. The only difference here with the trans thing is it's literally publicized everywhere as something that is normal. But I see no different. It's still mutilation, but it's just a different kind.
Yeah. And the issue for me is, especially with children, is there is no return. You mentioned it earlier. People like to say this, doctors and trans activists like to say, oh, well, if you get on hormones or puberty blockers, you can just stop it eventually and you'll go back to normal. You don't. When you're a male, you'll have a penis the size of my pinky. You can't orgasm and you're sterile for the rest of your life. That is not reversing it. That is, you made a mistake, right? Or, I mean, if you determine it's a mistake later on in life, that you made that mistake. And if it wasn't for doctors, your parents, teachers pushing this shit, and there's no laws in place to protect you, what the fuck do you do?
Yeah.
Because there's people out there there's people out there like this right now. And what activists like to say is, oh, that's not happening. But then when you put laws in place to prevent it from happening, they say, well, you're trying to ban trans people. It's like, but you said it's not happening. So why are you mad that this law to prevent a kid from getting a double mastectomy is happening? Why are you mad now? And it's like, well, because it's erasing trans people. And it's like, but you said it was never happening. You said kids were not being operated on, but they are. And that's the whole issue is you can't, it's like you said, you can't reverse that shit.
Yeah.
So where do you go from there? And you said something about being goth. Let me read this real quick because it's been sitting here for a while. Love you, Cody and GOTHIX. This whole mess is a gateway to communism. Real quick, Dinah says, what do you think of the Knowles ultimatum of we either trans the kids or we don't at all? He says there's no middle way. I would say we should don't.
Is this the Michael Knowles?
Yeah, Michael Knowles.
Yeah. I would say I stand by what I said, where I think the biggest mistake was ever doing it in the first place. If I was a psychologist and someone walked into my office, said they're struggling with their gender and they think that they're the opposite sex or what have you, my first thought would be, okay, let's sit down and let's really figure out what is causing you to even get to this point. Because if we go back, there's probably something that you experienced, maybe trauma, maybe lack of love, maybe something that you're dealing with and you're just taking that and applying it to some other area in your life. And even though that process may be difficult for some people, listen, depression is no joke. I have dealt with it myself. I get it. I've wanted to self-delete before. And the solution would still not be, let's get you on the surgery table and snip and do all this stuff. Yeah. I have the same criticism for people that think that if I just get booty implants or I get like lip injections and all this stuff, I'm going to feel happy. It's like, no, you think that that's going to make you feel happy, but that's just artificial because those things can be gone at any moment. You can get in a car wreck and be disfigured, look like Quasimodo the next day. Yeah. What are you going to do? Yeah.
And dude, that's a good point is that I feel like that's very reasonable, except there's a lot of people that will disagree. How is the first step that somebody is suffering from something like, gender dysphoria? How is the first step not to like put them through therapy and try to help them? How is that not the first step? It's not the first step anymore. The first step is to get them in the operating room as fast as possible.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Well, it's because I don't know how deep you've gone in this rabbit hole, but there are laws that have essentially coerced, or there's another word for it, but they are forcing psychologists to affirm the gender, because if they don't, again, going back to changing definitions of what is deemed hateful, if they don't affirm this delusion, then these psychologists might lose their license.
That makes sense, yeah.
So, and again, I'm going to bring this back to God. If you don't know God, money becomes your God. So someone that gets into the field of medicine, they're supposed to do no harm. They're supposed to truly treat their patients. And if I was in that position and I was told I need to affirm someone's delusion like the same way that I would affirm someone's delusion if they said that they're anorexic. Oh yeah, you're totally fat. Take these weight loss pills. Like, I'm not going to do that. Neither am I going to tell a man that he's actually a woman. I would be prepared to lose my license, and I would be okay with that, as opposed to sacrificing someone just for the sake of me keeping my job.
But GOTHIX, I don't think you understand that it hurts their feelings if you don't.
I don't give a damn.
That's the whole point.
I don't care.
Like, people want us to create policy out of maybe hurting someone's feelings. How the fuck do we get to this point?
It's part of because someone mentioned communism and Marxism. It is the slow process of softening the curriculum, the public education system. Get your kids out of school. Put them in a biblical school, Christian school, or homeschool them. If you really want to make sure that they're not getting propagandized, homeschool them. Because like you soften the curriculum, you make everything about feelings, you give out participation trophies, and you coddle people to the point where they think if I even feel the slightest bit of turbulence in my life, then I'm about to die. It's like...
Yeah, it's like everybody turned into the white lady that comes in the store and she's angry that she got the wrong thing, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to accept my coupon? I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I hate using this word, but I'm going to use it right now. It is so privileged for people to even think that you being misgendered or you not being affirmed with your true identity is actually a problem, when there are people literally having bombs dropped on their houses and you want to complain about pronouns.
My God. Yeah. So that's actually a good point. Dustman says there's no money in curing people. There's a fortune in prolonging the issue. 100%. So yeah, get the hell out of here. So thank you, Dustman. So that's a great point, because you'll see it every day. I actually saw it on Instagram Reels, because I don't have TikTok. And I was scrolling through it the other night, as I rarely do. And I saw a lady she moved to Turkey. Okay. She was like, I moved to Turkey because of how dangerous America is. And now I can take my baby for walks at 3 a.m. in Turkey, by the way. And I look up the statistics, right, for homicides. And the statistics for homicides are and I compare them to a normal place in rural America. So rural America is the vast majority of the country. Mm-hmm. There's like 3 cities that are a nightmare, and then there's rural America. And in rural America, in most cities, there's like 1 homicide a decade.
Yeah.
The unfortunate truth is there's 3,000 in Chicago, which has taken all the other statistics down. Oh, suddenly America is dangerous because of there's 3,000 deaths in Chicago, which drives the freaking number down for the rest of the country. And then they say, well, I moved to Turkey and it's really safe. And I'm like, the homicide rate in Turkey is insane. I moved to El Salvador, guys. It's like El Salvador is one of the most dangerous countries in the world. I think it's actually number 1 in murder rate now.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you think? I got a house for 110 grand. It's a mansion. I wonder why. You have armed guards and shit.
So one of my friends lives in Idaho, and the area is very conservative, very from what I gather, it has a balance of like Christian and secular, but it's mostly, you get this feel of just conservative area.
Yeah.
And the first time I went there, my friend just walks in the house, no key in the door, and I was shocked. I'm like, you don't lock your door? What are you like?
It's
I have like
weird,
5
yeah.
locks, and it's just night and day. But there are some areas in America that you can do that. You can walk down the street and not feel like you're gonna get mugged by someone.
It's wild, isn't it? Yeah. So I have friends that like don't lock their door, and I'll walk into their house and lock their door behind me. I'm like, they're like, oh, you don't have to lock the door, dude. I'm like, yeah, I'm locking the door. Like, I grew up in a city called Gadsden, and it was a very, very spicy city. And yeah, I got robbed several times. It's like baby Atlanta. And it was there's no way in absolute hell. But I have a really important question that I keep meaning to ask, but I keep forgetting it. So like, I'm about to read a super chat. Samuel, the infamous, says, look, I see no difference between saying bend the knee to the woke and saying bend the knee to God. Well, I agree with many of GOTHIX points. I bow to no one, man or God. Well, see, yeah, and like, I don't judge anybody if you're secular or you're religious. Like, that doesn't bother me at all. Like, I'm more of I judge people's character by how they are, just how they are, like, regardless of how they got there. Thank you, Samuel. I appreciate you for the second orange boy tonight. Yes, the second orange boy. We have Dustman, Billy Hatcher, and Holy Ozone. 3 gold boys, 2 orange boys, and 1 pink boy from the Phoenix Sage. I appreciate you. So my question to you, you said Gothic people. It's like people would tell you, how can you be Gothic and be a conservative? So very similar. What do you think about the fact that it is socially unacceptable to be black and to be a conservative? Isn't that, what do you think about that?
It's so freaking stupid and agitating. But again, I'll bring it back to this. People make their God out of their identity, their blackness. Being black is everything. When I was growing up, I would hear all the time from people that I was acting white and I wasn't being black enough because of the way that I dressed and the music I listened to and the way that I pronounced my words. I wasn't being black enough. And they had such an obsession with black, 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 black. Everything is black. And I realized that that was a long process of something that dates way back, like long before the civil rights movement. A lot of people like to prop up the civil rights movement. The reality is we were highly miseducated on that entire thing. And I'll explain why very, very briefly. Why is it that you think the majority of people who are black vote Democrat? Why is there such a high percentage? That's not normal. Because you being black, that isn't attached to a specific ideology. So how did we get here? We got there by emotionally extorting the emotions of black people and saying that you need to vote for these folks because they're going to benefit you in some way, and making them into victims. So then now it's no wonder why you can't look at someone who's black with conservative or right-leaning views and not look at them like they're crazy. It's like, well, why wouldn't you support your people?
Yeah.
Like,
well, they say you're going against your best interest, right?
Right. They're going against their best interest, but my best interest is whatever God's best interests are, not whatever black people's best interests are. Like, it's people fail to realize that you can strive for the good of humanity without trying to cater or box yourself in to little groups. Like, I can still strive for people to have freedoms and live their life and just for the pursuit of happiness and all that, without having to say, I'm doing this just for black people because I'm black and this is why I gotta, you don't have to do that. Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird to me. Now, you said something interesting that I would like to touch on because it's something fun to talk about, especially since you fall, I think you technically fall into this demographic. But when you look at voting patterns, white people, men and women, right?
Mm-hmm.
They vote relatively 50% left and right.
Yeah.
Men are slightly more conservative by like 5%. Whereas women can tend to be a little bit more liberal, but sometimes they will end up being more conservative one cycle. Latinos are around 60-40. So it's pretty similar. But when you get to the black demographic, now black men vote about 77-23. Right? 77 liberal, 23 conservative. But black women vote 99% liberal. That's wild. That almost seems statistically impossible to me, right?
I mean, it's a long process of collectivizing black folks. I mean, think of the culture in America, like the black entertainment culture. First of all, what is black entertainment? Like, I'm black. How can I be entertained? But there is a template for what that is, right? And you see, like, they prop up certain people, influencers, celebrities that sort of exhibit a certain type of behavior. And if I could describe what that behavior is, it is the worldview that I shouldn't be criticized for the way that I act. I know best. Yas queen. That is the worldview that a lot of black women have in this country. And where are they getting that from? They are mirroring it from someone else that they see on TV or on social media, in the movies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's, in my opinion, that's where they're getting it from. This dates back a long time.
It is weird. It's like when it's crazy to me. It's like when Biden was like, "If you don't vote for me, you're not black." And I'm like, Can he say that? And it worked.
Yeah, but where did he get that from? Because as I said, when I was growing up, I would hear that all the time. You're not black, right? You're not black if you do this and you do that. And so Joe Biden, someone whispered in his ear, and he said, "Say this," because that has a leverage. A lot of people, like a lot of the top black celebrities that live in their mansions, have 10 cars. Yeah. A lot of them will regurgitate this victim narrative. Like, for example, LeBron James saying that we're being hunted in the streets every day. Who's we? You have, like, how much money do you have? What are you talking about? You probably live in a predominantly white neighborhood, and you're claiming you get hunted in the streets. Yeah. But the reason that I think a lot of these people do it is because of the leverage of potentially losing your black card. This is something that a lot of people in the black community, they don't want to let go of. And I don't care if someone revokes my black card because my identity is not in my skin color. So but a lot of people, if they lose that, they don't feel accepted, included, or whatever. So they're gonna go along with it.
That's wild, dude. That makes a lot of sense because there's a weird thing in the black community. Now, I don't want to comment on it too much. It's just what I've seen in like maybe social media and in media in the last couple of years is black men, and this goes back to your like the black card thing, or like maybe like how they appear to other people, will fight someone if someone calls them gay to their face. They'll fucking fight you over it. That is like one of the biggest like things you could, if you say that to another black man and you don't know them, then it's like fight time. Whereas, dude, it's people. If somebody called me gay, I'm just like, damn straight, like immediately. I don't care. Like, so it's afraid of appearing a different way than you intend on appearing.
Yeah. Right? So you there. Okay, how do I say this? As I said before, there has been an effort to coddle the American mind. Yeah. And so on the one hand, you have the trans community, and if you refer to them by their biological gender, that's hateful, and they're ready to fight, call you a transphobe, ask for the manager, whatever. You call a black person the N-word with a hard R or gay or whatever, they're ready to fight, right? And this is the result of seeking the approval of man. You want the approval and the acceptance of man, whereas people call me nasty things all the time, but I don't seek their approval. I seek God's approval. So if you have a culture that is constantly seeking affirmation and approval on top of them not learning how to stabilize their emotions and build emotional resilience, you're going to have a very reactive community. Like, I think there is something very wrong with someone psychologically and spiritually where they think the result to someone saying something mean is I need to hurt this person. Like, that's crazy to me.
Same. Yeah, that's actually, yeah. So people are looking for, they just want the acceptance of of these people, and they'll do anything for it. Dude, it's like there was this guy that used to come to my store back when I worked at GameStop 100 years ago. And this guy would come to my store, and he wanted so badly to fit in, man. He would do anything for it. And one time and I didn't do this. It was Egg, my old manager. He's big. He's like a 500-pound guy. He was a really bad guy. He was kind of friends with this dude. He comes into my store, and he's having kind of a spat with his girlfriend, right? And she's out in the car, and he's like, blah, 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 blah. He's kind of yelling out, the door, and he closes it. And he's like, yeah, she's mad about this and this and this. And Egg, my boss, was like, you should go beat her ass. Stop being a pussy. Go beat her ass. And this dude, instead of being like, yeah, you right, I probably should, LOL, he wants to fit in. Dude, he goes out there and pulls her out of her car and starts slapping her. And I'm like sitting here as a 17-year-old kid, like, holy shit, what's happening? What is happening? And he was willing to go to jail just to impress like the guy that worked at GameStop, just to get his affirmation that he was like fun and cool.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Well, now here's a question back to you. So this guy that said, go out there and beat this person's ass, they're creating that standard on their own. They're saying that this is the solution. Being violent is the solution over there, right? So like to the question earlier that you said, you don't have to believe in God to know that murder is wrong. But to this person, it's like, well, I am capable of determining what is morally good and wrong. And if I don't beat this person's ass, then I'm not going to be accepted, or it's a sign of weakness, or you got something to prove, so you should do it, right? So there's no standard, and there's no boundaries as to what type of stupidity that these people will do. It's because they're just going along with it. They're just going through life and just picking up their values and principles like a salad bar at any given moment, and there's no standard or structure.
Yeah, and so that's a great point, dude. This is great. This is a good conversation. Like, I know there's people.
I'm glad.
It's a good conversation because I'm like thinking. I'm thinking very dynamically, which is very rare for me. So think about it this way. So people have always struggled for affirmation. So before 100 years ago, 500 years ago, 2,000 years ago, people were doing things in order to fit into whatever tribe, group, or anybody, that they felt like. There's a book actually based on this. It's called Ordinary Men. It's based off of Nazis in World War II and how they were able to be so radicalized so easily. And they were radicalized so easily, and they started committing atrocities that they weren't even supposed to do. So there's stories and documents from where people were getting pulled out of their house and getting just shot in the face. They were not ordered to do that, but they were doing it. Officers were doing this. Nazis and officers that were, in this division were doing this for fear of not fitting in, and because they thought it would please the people above them. So they thought they were going above and beyond. It was all about fear of not towing the line. Fear that they would be canceled, lose their life if they didn't do this, and they took it a step further. And that's how Nazis were so radicalized. There's a really cool book about this that goes into the thought process. I'm probably not explaining it very well, but
it sounds like a good book.
It's human nature, and that's still what's happening today. There's a reason why people that aren't educated on trans issues, or like black issues, or any kind of issue you could think about, they just blindly agree to whatever the person that's emotional is saying, to protect their social standing in that moment. There was a great interview where there was a girl that was Asian, and she's like a conservative, right? And she was asking a white college kid, why are you telling me that you have more privilege than me? She's like, I grew up rich. I had great parents. I went to school, and was able to do everything I was able to do, and my race never hindered me, but you're telling me that you have white privilege and you're checking your privilege. And she was like, can you explain what you have a privilege over me, since you are more important than I am? And the white kid was like, I don't really know. I'm going to be honest. I'm just saying that, so I don't get in trouble. He actually said that on camera.
Wow.
And and I know it's kind of loosely related, but it goes all the way back to Ordinary Men.
Yeah.
It's people desperately trying to fit in and afraid of the consequences and not doing so.
Yeah.
For whatever is popular at the moment. And it's scary because Nazis are bad. We can agree. So What if the popular narrative was the complete opposite? What if the popular narrative was we need to bring, people that identify as trans out in the streets and take care of them? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what if that was the popular narrative? People would be like, the same people that are like, how dare you be a bigot, would be the people pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
That's the scary part. That's kind of the idea around that book.
Right.
And it's what made it the worst possible case scenario. For example, you're me and you were the same age. When we were growing up, for me to fit in, I had to make jokes in middle school. I'm trying to have a friend. I would get friends that way. You had your thing. We're growing up. And once we get past the age 16, 17, I stopped caring. I never cared anymore after that. I don't give a fuck what people think. But the advent of social media happened around then. Now you have people growing up in this age to where they live and die based on if people agree or disagree with them online. And that is now their affirmation. If they don't get affirmed online by everybody, they flip the freaking lid. Look at Star Wars. Like a Star Wars movie can come out, or any movie really, and there's like a black lead in the movie. And no one really has a problem with it. Sometimes people will, depending on the role. But for example, Idris Elba as James Bond, I think that would be kick-ass. A lot of people agree. Conservative commentators I've talked to agree in the past as well. They're like, hell yeah, dude. Idris Elba's not interested, but that would be cool. But an article will come out saying racist trolls online angry over Idris Elba possibly considered as 007. And they take 3 out of context like tweets from people with 0 followers. Yeah. And they say that's the entire movement coming at you. Backlash. It's no one. It's invisible people.
Yeah.
And it goes back to you saying there is not enough supply, but there's so much demand for it. Yeah. So we have to make that shit up. Right?
Exactly.
It's freaking wild. Shot read real quick. It will stop when citizens band together or certain groups do a 2A range on corrupt officials to take over. Damn, shot read. Damn. Dustman says, you see the way these moms get social credit for having special kids, and it becomes obvious. Munchausen by proxy. I meant to say that earlier. Yeah. There's a reason why there are parents on TikTok becoming famous for transitioning their 3-year-old. They're becoming famous. They have 1 million followers on TikTok.
Yeah.
What would you do? Like, now, I know what I would do. I know what you would do. But what if you lived and died by social media affirmation? You would be like, yep, they're trans. Look how trans they are. I got a wig on them. They're beautiful. Please give me more likes and more money and more sponsorships. Right?
It's terrible.
Thank you, Superstar, by the way. I agree with that.
So, to that point really quick, it would... I'm going to tell you a little embarrassing story. Maybe not embarrassing for me, but when I was a teenager, I have a sister, and my sister she had a social media account, and I decided I wanted to delete her social media.
Oh, God.
And I deleted it, and you would have thought I had chopped off her limbs and I was torturing her the way that she was screaming. Yeah. And it's like it was the end of the world for her. And I'm like, it is literally just a social media platform. And she was a teenager. So these people, they would literally lose their minds if they didn't have that affirmation. And I wonder, why is it that you need that much information, that much affirmation in the first place? Why is it that you're seeking love from complete strangers on the internet?
Yeah, faceless people. Actually, I'll ask you a question to dig into that. Well, Spain says every girl said they were bi in high school and married men. Yep, 100%. Albatross says we're living in the mouse utopia. Thank you, Albatross. Let me catch up on these real quick, and then I'll ask you the burning question that I have, because it's actually it speaks based on that, like. Neck core. Oh, you trying to get me, you bitch. El Salvador's president has changed the court for the better. It's a lot better. Oh, shit. Well, I haven't heard nothing about that. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Patrick T says, denial is a mental illness. Changing the plumbing doesn't make anything. Princess Peach. Keep them away from children. Thank you. I appreciate you for the gold, boy. Love you. Monkey Man, my boy, coming in strong. Missed you, baby. I'm glad you're here, dude. There were so many. I can't believe I missed them. They destroyed the black family and replaced the father with the state. Oh, damn. I've actually heard that several times from commentators. Keros, orange boy up in this bitch. By the way, Furby Slayer, you better send it anyway. This is the grift. Stop trying to not grift me. All right. What do you think this is? Thank you. I appreciate you. And then there's one pink boy. And then we're good to go. If I can scroll down, there it is. Yo, oh my God, he's got the banana hammock. What's that guy's name off of Hunger Team? Banana. You see him? You see the little picture?
I see him. I don't know what that is.
What is this? It's Banana. No, Banana, don't. What's his name? Banana something. Anyways, it's off of Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Johan Noxos says, GOTHIX, you're awesome and I love your takes. I'd love to know your thoughts on the Mouse Utopia experiment and the men go their own way, red pill philosophy. By the way, the opposite of love is not hate. It's indifference. Thank you, Johan. I appreciate you. Ham Banana, thank you. Hits Ham Banana. Thank you, Johan. I love you. I appreciate you. Second pink boy tonight. Oh, yeah. Fellwind over on Rumble with a purple boy. Says, how far to fight milk? Also, trans is the ultimate manufactured crisis. Racism. Failed to get what they wanted. Gays failed. Now they're trying trans. Thank you, Fellwind. I appreciate you. Thank you. And I do want to give a disclaimer out there. We're having a level-headed, nice discussion. A lot of people, when they hear anybody talking about anything like that could be considered spicy, they get pissed. Yeah. That's what I like talking about, dude. Like, I disagree, agree. I think it's fun. I love talking about it.
What you're doing is great, though. Like, you're leading by example and showing people that it's okay to have disagreement. If we all agreed on something would be wrong. I would assume we'd all be dead or something. Yeah. Like, you need to have these conversations, and you're doing great.
It's very important, and I'll tell you something, because this happened 2-3 days ago. Before I say that, Trent Westbrook with the Ferrari red. Hats off to GOTHIX. Oh my God, Trent, you maniac. I love you. I appreciate you. Holy shit balls, you're goated as hell. First red boy. It's a rainbow night. Look at this son of a bitch. Thank you so much, dude. I love you. Trent Westbrook dropped a 500 last stream and 100 this stream. I don't deserve your love, my friend. Ooh. But I am very thankful. Thank you. So, a few days ago, somebody texted me that I know. That they're a content creator of very large size, and they're a liberal, and I don't have any problem with that at all. I think it's fine, cool. We in some capacity, whether you have social media or not. I feel like if you don't have social media, it's more easier to understand this this theory. But we need liberals for a reason, and we need conservatives for a reason. They need to exist in the same space. But unfortunately, like if you're on Twitter, it's like fucking wild now, right? But they asked me, they're like, why do you only bring conservatives on? Like, they're like, it's kind of shitty of you to only bring conservatives on. And I responded, and I was like, because the liberals won't come on. I've invited like 4 liberal creators, and it has nothing to do with them. I don't care. Like, I want to talk to them about other stuff. I don't really care. We'll talk about whatever. We talk about boobs and boobies. I don't give a fuck. But they won't come on because they're like, oh, well, I saw you had a Nerdrotic on, so I'm not going to come on. I had somebody recently cancel with me because they saw that I had Melanie Mack on.
That sounds like their problem.
Yeah. It was wild.
This is exactly something that I dealt with on my channel. I used to frequently invite guests on my channel, and at the very start, I was looking for people that I disagreed with, which were mainly people that were on the left, socialists, Marxists, all those people I wanted to come on. No one would come on except for what I would classify as the debate me bros. And these people, in my opinion, are so combative. And it's like, if we were having a conversation and these people disagreed with me, they would hear what I'm saying, but they wouldn't actually be actively listening to the information coming out of my mouth. It's like they're processing what they're gonna say after I shut up to just rebuttal. So it wasn't constructive at all. A lot of the times it was yelling, but more often than not, people just wouldn't come on. The more conservative or right leaning you were, the more reasonable and interested to have a conversation you would be.
You know what's weird about that, and I find myself in a strange position because I don't really think too much about politics, and you'll notice that I haven't really talked about it much. It's more based on social because we can't really avoid it anymore with children being involved. So now I have to think about it. And because, I'll have children someday running around. So like, that's an issue. So the issue is I don't think of myself as a conservative. I'm more right in the center slightly lean conservative. I don't want to pay taxes. That's pretty much my my big thing. I don't want to pay taxes ever again. I don't never want to do that again. That's pretty much my.
I hate taxes.
Yeah, dude, fuck that. So that's kind of where I am, and I'm pretty in the middle. But unfortunately, me just being in the middle makes me still like a Nazi for some reason.
Yeah, you're conservative. Like, I don't think I'm conservative. I think I took a test on this once. There's tests that'll put you in a certain group, and I think mine was like, I'm independent but also an individualist. Hate taxes, want small government. But if you are anything that is slightly to the right of what the current thing is, the popular thing, which is whatever's on the left, you're conservative. You're a right winger. You're a Nazi.
Yeah, I remember on Twitter or something, I said something like disparaging, I guess, against Biden because he's funny. Like, he's so ridiculous. He's obviously like a 90-year-old decrepit man, and he shouldn't be where he is. I think almost anybody should be able to agree, but some people won't. But I can agree he's just far too damn old. And I made some kind of goofy comment, like joking about that. And somebody called me a Trumpster, and I was like, I'm not even a Trumpster. Like, I voted for Ron Paul, man. Like, what are you talking about? They don't care. I could respond like that, but I'm not conservative. I voted for Ron Paul, libertarian, and they're like, "Shut up, fuck off." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, it's just weird. It's the attitude. If you're not with me, you're completely against me, and I don't think you can really progress when that is the attitude around everybody, right?
Yeah. It's a mental illness if you bring up Trump in conversations that literally have nothing to do with Trump.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude, what is that about?
All the time. It's like,
oh my gosh, there was some. I said something about like liking spaghetti or something on Twitter once, and somebody posted something about Trump in a disparaging way, and I'm like, how do you exist when your entire interest is based on like politics? Like, how do you get to the point where you have no interest? Which brings me to a question that I was going to ask you a minute ago. Furby Slayer. It started in the 70s and 80s when they accepted open comms as professors and educators. Socisms is the virus and communisms is the disease. Speaking of communists as professors and educators, you're right. I mean, the one thing you're right about, Furby, is almost all collegiate institutions are all incredibly left-wing. And instead of them teaching you about things that you're studying about, they're just radicalizing you. And that's kind of the issue right now. Thank you, Furby Slayer. But what are your interests, GOTHIX? And
my interests?
Yeah, it could be any art, anything.
Oh man. I love food. I love going to new restaurants, new hole in the wall spots. I love having some good conversation with some cigars. I love traveling America, which is something that I had recently started doing because prior to 2020, before I started doing the political stuff, I really didn't travel. And now I have been going everywhere and it's pretty awesome. I love video games. I'm a big gamer. Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up for like my main things, I would say. Oh, and I like painting. You know, I'm a terrible painter. Would you like to see my painting?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I worked really hard on this.
Oh my God. It's so cute. Look at Elmo screaming in hell.
Yeah, this is a representation of how I feel about society right now. Yeah. This is my mood.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's really good actually. I enjoy that. So that's important. You listed off like 5 different things that you have interest in that you will fill your time with. When it comes to me, I love building cars, working on race cars. I race a lot professionally. There's, editing, making music. I play piano, guitar, bass. I write music. I work on scores every day. A lot of Ghibli stuff right now. And I do a lot of stuff like that. And there's just all kinds of things that fascinate me, especially, like you said, conversing over issues, whether I disagree or not. And the fact that I'm not getting angry, which to be honest, I agree with you almost with everything, but still, I wouldn't get angry otherwise, which means people think if I'm not getting angry, I'm complicit, right?
Yeah.
So that being said, You have interest, and I have all these interests. Therefore, we don't have anything to put on our plate nor to focus our time with. I think a big issue, and it's something that I don't think we can fix, is the vast majority of people have no interest. Like I said with the Tinder girls back in the beginning, Netflix, wine, hiking. That's it. So when you have people that don't have these interests, what are they going to fill their interest with? They're going to make their personality about whatever's popular. Politics, social politics. That's why people are so radicalized right now, because that is their entire identity. Like you said, it's their God.
Yeah.
All they have. You want to go play guitar? They're like, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
You play video games? Nope. You like movies? Nope. So you sit on Twitter all day and you argue.
Yeah.
About politics that don't really affect you. Local politics might affect you, not federal politics, but that's all they care about. Because it's all because people don't have any interest. And you'll find out people that don't let things affect them always have interest. They always do. Darren Muth has some interest, says, look at the Milgram experiment, speaks to what you're talking about, the appeal to authority. Yeah, 100%. 100%. And the authority right now is whatever is popular on social media. Patrick T says, currently, liberals don't exist. I'm a libertarian, and the Unity Party cares nothing about freedoms that the Constitution established. 100%. Speaking of constitutions, I had a code enforcement officer come onto my property and come under my deck the other day, which is against the Fourth Amendment in the Alabama Constitution. But no one cares.
Wow.
You know, I'm not going to complain about it, because you don't complain with government people, because they'll just be like, oh, are you pissed? Or I'm going to condemn your house. And you're like, no. And you can't do nothing about it.
Yeah.
All you can do is sue the city, maybe. And then all their friends are working on the city council. Oh, no. Like, you're fucked. So, yeah, I'm just going to be real nice about it. Short Red says, you two could be libertarian or moderates. Revenge in NetherRealm says, how about MAGA? Make everything great again. Man, I wish it was like that. Is GOTHIX Inner Basement? Is that a backdrop or is it a green screen?
This is vinyl.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so simplistic and it looks cool. My backdrop is like 1,000 things. It's like
it looks good though.
There's so many. This TV thing broke 2 days ago and I had to rebuild it, and it's completely random now. Random ass TV I found in my storage. And I put a 360 in it, and I wired the LEDs to like a USB thing that I can plug into the 360. It just died. It completely died the other day, so I had to rebuild that shit. Thank you, Billy Hatch, by the way. I love you and I appreciate you. Samantha Palmer, I haven't seen you in a long time. I appreciate you, baby. Thank you for your love and kisses. We are 80 from Naked Snake. God, I didn't know we were that close. 80 from Naked Snake, 580 from Fight Milk. Get on it. Doggone it. Patrick says, hey, don't hate on cardio. I'm going to hate on cardio. Cardio is for the devil.
Hey, I like cardio, all right?
No, I disagree.
Like
and I will get angry about that.
You know, we can fight, man.
Oh, dude, I hate it, man. I hate it so much. Oh, gosh. So when I do my cutting season, I'll diet early. I'll do a cut diet, and I will get shredded. And I have zero cardio. Cardio is the devil. It doesn't make no sense. It shouldn't be a thing. I will see women come into my gym, and there's some men, but mainly women, because like when you turn on any movie or TV show, when somebody is active or fit, is that like the muscle or the active or the rock climber girl, there's always one of those characters, right? Yeah. They're always just jogging. That's like their exercise is jogging, because I guess that's how you get muscle mass, right? So there's girls that will come to my gym and they weigh like 90 pounds.
Oof.
And they will come and get on the elliptical for like 30 minutes and then leave.
Oh, that's not good.
Then they will come up to me and be like, hey, can I have some advice? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Because you can't tell on camera, but I'm a very large man. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And they're like, I want to, get a little toned and like a little bit of muscle mass, but I don't want to get like manly. And I'm like, well, you gotta lift weights. You gotta start, lifting weights, eat a little bit more to build some mass, and never do cardio again. And they're like, it's like culture shock. Right? Now cardio is good for certain things, especially high intense cardio at short intervals is really good. But I'm not a long distance runner. And I'm not, if I did cardio, I would lose muscle mass, and I can't afford it. I've been working on this shit for like 10 years.
Yeah.
I can't lose 20 pounds in like 6 weeks of freaking muscle mass.
Well, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So, yeah, dude, it's cardio. Now, some people don't want to lift at all, and that's fine. I get that.
Yeah, I've started lifting. I get bored. Thing is exercising is boring to me. So like I'll do cardio, I'll do HIIT, but I also like it as a challenge. I find it fun. Whereas like lifting, I'm like, all right, I'll do it fine, but Not entertaining to me.
You know, I love, I don't know what it is, but I will get to the gym and I'll put my earbuds in. I'll turn on some like Lamb of God or some shit, some old like '04 Lamb of God.
Oh man.
And I'm just like in a zone and just lifting, and I'll do it for 4 hours.
Wow.
I just can't stop. I just love it. I love it more than anything. But unfortunately, my workouts are like only an hour nowadays because, you know, I go to the gym at 3 because I have to train some people. They get, you know, they have to get off work. So I get there, I meet them there. Within an hour and a half, I have to go home and schedule my streams and all my shows, work on thumbnails, do all that shit. And now I have racing, so I can't work out during the weekend. God, it's just wild, man. It's but when my wife left, I had nothing to do, nothing. So I would get up at 7 a.m., go to the gym for an hour, go straight to work, get off work at 4:30, go to the gym till 9 p.m. every day. I did it like 7 days a week, two a days, because like I don't know, it felt good. It felt like it's like the camaraderie. It's something weird about it. Where does GOTHIX and her single, like-minded, hot girlfriends hang out theoretically? What the hell are you trying to ask, Patrick? What kind of question is that, Patrick? Damn! You don't just ask them where they hang out. Damn. You gotta stalk them on Instagram, find out. You gotta look for landmarks in the background of the pictures.
Yeah, there you go.
Huh? Dude, I've had girls do that shit before.
That's creepy.
Find out where you are by like what's in the background.
I didn't do that.
Dude, girls are crazy as hell. I had a girl show up at my damn house one time that didn't know where I lived.
Wow.
She showed up at my house to give me a bowl of chicken and dumplings that she had made, and she gave me a full bottle, one of those big bottles of Jack Daniels.
What the hell?
I'd hooked up with her once, and it was like a month prior, and she keep texting me, and I'm friendly, man. I'll text back. I'm like, yeah, I'll have good, whatever. As long as there's not like a lot going on, I'll converse with whoever messages me. I mean, people in the chat that I have no reason to respond to. I've probably messaged before, or they messaged me and I respond. But yeah, dude, like this girl, I hooked up with her once, and then she showed up at my house one time with chicken and dumplings and Jack Daniels, and I had another girl there from Tinder, like at the time.
Woo! Did you share your dumplings with her?
I don't remember. I did eat the bitches though. Although she probably put her menstruation in it or some shit. You know how women are.
Oh, that's gross.
Women do that kind of stuff, don't they?
Can't relate.
That's not a stalkery thing you've done?
No. Mm-mm.
Could you imagine? Now I'm inside you. Can you feel me inside you? It's like that episode of Family Guy where what's her face puts her hair in the pie. Meg puts her hair in the pie. Yeah. Freaking wild as hell. Ghost Meteor, I love you. Ashley, I love you on locals. Thank you guys so much for the locals tips. We're closing in on the Naked Snake. We are 250 likes away from goal, and we have almost 1,000 people watching. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Wow.
I've seen it. Okay, I have a question for you, and we'll get back to our topics. I just did you see Midsummer?
That's the cult movie, right?
Yeah, where they're in Finland and it's like everybody's dressed in white and shit.
No, so I actually couldn't see it. Because I had tried, but I had tried. This is gonna get really dark really for a second. I had tried watching it right after one of my ex-boyfriends committed suicide.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and like the first scene, I see that, and I just start hyperventilating. I'm like, turn this shit off. I can't watch this. So I never went back and watched it.
Well, you made a good decision because the movie's trash.
Okay, great.
I don't know what it is about white girls though. White girls love that movie. And I think it's because white girls suck. And I'll elaborate a little bit. Because so the main girl is a white girl, and she's in love with this dude for some reason. And the dude keeps sparing her feelings because he's like, kind of morally driven, but he doesn't want to be with her anymore. He's just trying to find a good way to let her go. But she keeps, like laying into him, being sad. And he's like, fuck, okay, me, which you probably shouldn't do. But, he's trying to do whatever's, nicest. And of course, at the end, do you mind spoilers at all?
No.
Okay. So at the end, they feed him drugs. Like the cult people feed him drugs to make him like not be able to really move. And then they like the women of the tribe like rape him. Like this young girl like gets on top of him and like to get impregnated or whatever. And the blonde girl that's his girlfriend sees that, and it's like, oh, he's cheating on me. by the way, he's getting forced, and he's like, there's like 8 women holding him down, by the way.
What the hell?
And she's like, he's cheating on me. So she has this weird long scene of her just hysterically screaming and crying. And then she gets made the May Queen. I think it's what it's called. Like, she's like the god now. They like make her the god for some reason. And she orders her boyfriend to get burned alive because he cheated on her. And all these white girls are cheering, yeah, get him, he cheated. And I'm like, he got raped. What the fuck? Also, beside the point, the movie sucks. Like, it's very predictable. And women that I've talked to, and it's always white women, damn it, I don't know what's wrong with them. I'll talk to these girls, and they say the reason they like the movie is because the long droning shots, and it's colorful and bright. And usually horror movies are dark and spooky. And I'm like, that's what you got. It's daylight outside and colorful. Man, I feel like white women are simple as hell. Like, they're just easy please, man. You make something look artsy, and they're like, ooh, I love this. This is great.
That's so stupid. I mean, I don't know if that's a thing. I'd be interested to look at a research study to see if your theory is correct. But that's interesting.
Oh, you'll see. Just read the chat. You'll see people in the chat. Oh, I love that movie. Blah, blah, blah. And they're all, yeah, but they're a white girl too. Darren Moose says, if you ever get a chance and are interested, there's a book titled Influence by Robert Cialdini. Will open your eyes on things like Jonestown. You talking about like the dude that made everybody drink the Kool-Aid? You ever watched the documentary on Jonestown?
No.
Yeah. Dude, like I think it's the 70s maybe, has this church group, and they go to like Zimbabwe or some shit. And they get there, and he has this whole church group commit suicide because he's dying, by the way. I think he's dying. And he gets this entire church group, including children, to drink Kool-Aid, to commit suicide and go to heaven with him. He doesn't drink the Kool-Aid because he's a bitch. He gets his assistant to shoot him in the head with a gun.
What?
But he got like Zimbabwean guards, and it's probably the wrong country, but I think it's Zimbabwe. He gets people from the country to come in and be guards so nobody can come into their encampment. And also, if you didn't drink the Kool-Aid, the guards would shoot you in the face. So you couldn't leave. You fucking died. And they also killed a senator that came to check on the place. They came to check and make sure it was okay, like a U.S. senator or something. And then as he was leaving, they killed him.
Isn't it interesting? I'm going to have to look that up. I feel like I've heard of that. I just never looked into it. But that's so interesting how people can easily be persuaded into a cult. It kind of reminds me of how things are now in society, where people have, joined a lot of these social justice cults and don't realize it.
Yep. And the thing is, people were convinced until he started getting the Kool-Aid out. And then one person drank it, like the first person drank it, and they started convulsing and freaking the fuck out because they were dying. And everybody was like, oh shit. And everybody started running and panicking. They didn't no longer believe this. And they started getting gunned down by the guards he hired, just shooting in the face. So yeah, people are radicalized until the last moment. And they're like, oh fuck, I don't want to do this no more.
Wow.
Oh damn. Oops. It's a really good one. It's also what fun to watch is what's the one in Texas? Waco. That's a great one to watch. It's like that they had some unregistered guns. You know what Waco is, yeah?
No.
So Waco is a place in Texas where there was a guy, and it was kind of like a cult, let's be honest. But they weren't doing anything wrong. So they had basically a building, and they had like 100 people in the building, and they were all like in this family, like a cult family, right? So the guy that was running it, okay, there was some unpaid tax issue, and they had a few unregistered guns. So the FBI, I think it's the FBI. Keep in mind, I'm not very good about this, but the FBI goes in and they raid his compound, and a few of them get shot, obviously, because they're defending themselves, because they're getting raided by people with like AKs or AR-15s and shit. And they just catch the place on fire and kill every single woman, man, and child in the building. All of them on U.S. soil. They kill like 92 children and women.
Wow.
And they were celebrating, and it's like a holiday now. The men that were killed, like the FBI agents, there's like 4 of them, I think, that died. There's a holiday to commemorate them. It's like a very unknown, like small holiday, but it's to commemorate the FBI agents that gave their life to kill a bunch of children.
That's freaking weird.
Wild, isn't it? It's crazy as hell, man. It's crazy, and a lot of people don't know about it. And obviously, I'm not explaining it very well. People are like, "Ah, it's kind of accurate." Yeah, I don't know all the things. It's been like years since I watched these documentaries.
The cliff notes are good. I like that.
Yeah, it's basically that. I mean, if you watched it like tomorrow with like a loose recollection of what I said, you'd be like, "Oh, this is exactly what he said."
Okay.
Yeah, you know. So, but yeah, dude, it's wild as hell. Speaking of wild as hell, what do you think of? I saw you had a video that said, "Let's dismantle woke Hollywood." I think that's what it said. What is your or can you just elaborate on what exactly woke Hollywood is for just people in the chat that are too dumb to realize what it is?
I've done so many videos on Hollywood, I feel. So I'm not sure which one. Or just
woke Hollywood in general. It's like forced diversity, things to that nature.
Yeah, forced. Okay, so I think people have to recognize that Hollywood, the goal for Hollywood is really to get everyone on the same ideological page. I think it's more obvious now than ever, where the most popular celebrities and most popular or the most marketing that goes behind a lot of these movies and stuff tend to be those that they're sort of regurgitating the woke narrative. So I would say, yeah, woke Hollywood is, in my opinion, people trying to do like forced diversity or performative activism in their movies to show that they support a certain group of people. But it's like Black History Month. When you go into Sears and they got Black History Month flyers everywhere.
Yeah.
What is that for? It's not for me. I don't care about this. Why is there a Juneteenth flyer here? Okay. What does that do for me? Nothing. So in the same way, when they take pre-existing characters from a movie that are white and they swap a race, I'm supposed to be like excited for that. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Hollywood executives, for throwing me crumbs and making me feel so inclusive. But could you have used that money perhaps to make an original character, an original movie, something that didn't obviously pander to people who look at skin color as a part of their identity? So yeah.
It's wild. It's absolutely wild. And look, I come from a different background probably, but the fact that we're expecting corporations to actually care about Black Friday or Black Friday, they care about Black Friday. No, to get corporations to actually care about Black History Month, we see this because what happens on Twitter or any social media on Black History Month or on Pride Month.
Yeah,
they change all their logos of their profile pictures to Black History Month, also Walmart, and they'll do the same thing with Pride. It'll be like a Walmart logo, but it's like rainbowy. It's like we support this until on Black History Month until March 1st, and they change that shit back immediately. And we're supposed to expect these 78-year-old like white executives that are all billionaires. They care about like Black History Month. They don't care. It's what they think they're supposed to do on social media to increase sales, increase brand recognition.
And people fall for it.
They do. They do. People they fought, but they don't understand the inner workings of it. They just see a picture and they're like, "Oh, that's good." They care. They don't. They're a corporation. They're not it's not a person. It's not a family. It's a corporation. They don't care.
Yeah.
There may be one person in that building that might legitimately care about whatever movement, but as a corporation, they don't actually care about you. If they did, corporations like Amazon, which changed their profile picture during Black History Month, and they post a bunch of posts about Black History Month, but they have an active policy on the floor at Amazon warehouses to discriminate against men that are Black. It's in their management policy that they are harsher on Black men when it comes to theft in their company.
Yeah.
There is documentation from Amazon, like when they're teaching management in their warehouses about face tattoos, Black men, jewelry, things to that nature. Black men are men that wear jewelry in general, which would be more Black men that are doing that, to have random searches and keep tabs on these people. And if things go missing, they immediately blame it on those people and they interview those people. But they also will say immediately, we love Black History Month. We love our Black associates. But also the highest turnover is their Black associates.
Right.
It's all bullshit.
It's all bull.
It's all bullshit. And it's the same way with Hollywood. It's the exact same way. Woke Hollywood's the exact same way. They do all these things. Like, what was it I was watching? I think it's just called The Batman with Robert Pattinson, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the movie was fine, and the scenes are playing out. I'm having a good time. And there's one scene where, like, I think it's Catwoman and Batman are just having a conversation on a rooftop. And they're just talking about, whatever they're talking about. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it seems like it was stitched in, like a reshoot. Catwoman says, yeah, it's just this city and all the rich, white, privileged men in it. Like, and then it goes back to the conversation. Like nothing happened. I'm like, what just happened? And then she like starts making out with the rich, billionaire, white, privileged man. That's Batman. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? And that happens twice in that movie. You're watching the scene and all of a sudden they just say like rich, evil, white people. And then it's almost like you have to catch it. It's like when somebody like farts in the background or there's a penis like in a small background image on a movie. And you're like, what, did I just see that? Like, what was that? It's kind of like that.
It's propaganda. It works because I know of people that believe this white privilege lie. Like I know someone that recently vandalized a store and they posted about it on Instagram. And then the police showed up at this person's house and ordered them to pay a fine. And they blamed it on white privilege.
Shocking.
Yeah. So where do you get that from? You get it from other people telling you. So this is why this what I call forced diversity in woke Hollywood is really not diversity. Is they're selling you a narrative and you're accepting that narrative. And the narrative is it is good to amplify Black people, gay people, this, and that. But when it trickles down into other areas of society, let's say politics, now people are more inclined to vote someone in just because they fit that criteria, not because of their background, their education, none of that. It's just they're Black and we need diversity.
Yep. That's it. Yeah. And it's like when Kamala Harris, when she got elected, I guess, quote unquote elected.
Debatable.
But it was like first Black woman, first East Asian woman, first Asian woman, first Indian woman. Like, I'm like, how can you be like 7 first? You're like one lady. What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was weird. It's like whenever Elizabeth Warren, I think that's her name, when something happens, it's like first indigenous Native American, and it's like she's a white lady.
Mm-hmm.
And it was somebody did a DNA, or she did a DNA test, and she's like 1,310th like Native American or Cherokee or something. She's like, see, I am Native American. It's like, dude, I'm probably more Black than that.
Stop denying her existence. Okay.
God, so ridiculous. Slanging nanners. What the fuck? Hey, Hang Jay on the camel. What? Hang Jay on Now Camels? On Now Camels? She brought you chicken and dumplings and Jack Daniels and you didn't marry her immediately? That's a marriage proposal where I'm from. Yeah, she would have probably also slit my neck. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole point. That she would probably slit my throat later. By the way, thanks for the go boy, you sweet, delicious slanging nanners. Appreciate you. And the old Cassius Cleo with a big drop. We don't have any good writers anymore. Separate from that, we want Black characters. We aren't good enough to create successful stories of Black leads. Put Captain America in blackface. Meanwhile, the fans just want good characters regardless. And they exist. There's Blade. There's Spawn. There's always cool characters that exist. And that's a great point, actually, Cassius Cleo. It brings me to a good point. I love you, by the way, for your pink boy, you sexy bastard. So, think about it this way, Gothics. You know how everybody's dogging, they're dogging people that are upset at the Little Mermaid, saying they're racist because, you just don't want a Black lead, right? So, how do they explain every Blade movie, the Book of Eli, Denzel Washington, every single movie with Morgan Freeman in it, every Will Smith movie, there are tons of box office jams with Black leads that no one ever even hinted, well, I won't see that because it's a Black man. But suddenly, people are racist because they don't want to see Little Mermaid because they feel like it was extremely forced and ridiculous. Right? Does that make sense?
I mean, they you can't bring that up because that will crush their entire worldview. In fact, I criticized people that were calling anyone that didn't like Little Mermaid being Black. I criticized that whole narrative saying, oh, they're racist. And that's really what spearheaded my YouTube, which is why I was laughing, as it's like, oh, this is my legacy. This is how it all started, by me saying, hey, why is Ariel black and why is everyone racist for not wanting her to be black? Yeah, it's stupid.
And it reminds me of the first. So like Jennifer Lawrence said recently that she was the first female action lead ever in the 2000s, by the way, 2010s with Hunger Games. She said she was the first. She's like, it's really tough being the first action female lead ever in history. And I'm like, there's like 600 before you, like quite literally before you, that are more badass than you, by the way. And
they want love.
Yeah, and she had to come back and apologize and be like, oh, that's not what I meant. I meant like, you know, like being dumb as hell. Mm-hmm. And now they're doing it with Disney. There's a Disney movie that either came out or is coming out, and the lead character, or one of the characters, is like an obese woman that's a ballerina, and people are like,
I saw that. Yeah.
The first obese or first plus sized
it's literally
Disney character, and I'm like,
makes no sense.
There's like 1,000 of them. There's Baloo. Yeah. There's like 4 in each movie for comedic relief. Wall-E has like 300 fat people in it. You're like, oh, it's the first fat person to do. I'm like, where the hell you been? Right? God, It's so ridiculous. And it's like when I think it was people that were claiming that Chadwick guy was the first black lead ever in a movie. I think. And I'm like, what the fuck? What?
No.
The first black lead in the movie. The first female black lead was like 1938. And it's like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Like, God. Will Spain says Morgan Freeman is literally God. I've read the Bible in my teens, the voice of Morgan Freeman. Also, don't forget Keith David. Oh, yeah, dude, Keith David's goated as shit. He's in literally everything. Love me some Keith David. Saniko says, for a good Waco documentary, Jeremy McKenzie's Waco Truth Deep State Massacre on Rumble is awesome, and he's a Canadian vet. Now, enemy of the state. Thank you so much, Saniko. I love you. I definitely need to check. I want to watch another one. That shit fascinated me. I got a question. We will wind down real soon. How's it only 10:30? I'm like, we're about to wind down.
It's 11:30 for me. I'm ready to wind down.
Yeah. Real quick, we're $8 from Naked Snake. $8 from Naked Snake. It's pretty close. 500, almost even, from Fight Milk. We're gonna start winding down a little bit, but I do want to ask you a question.
Sure.
So, my question to you is: Do you see an issue with Leonardo DiCaprio being 50 and dating women that are 25 years old or younger, like 18 to 25?
No.
Same, right?
This is business.
So why are women angry about it?
Because they're miserable.
Exactly.
And alone.
You're so damn smart. So Jesus. like everything. I'm like, she's gonna say exactly what I'm yep, she is. So it's always women that are in their 30s and alone. And they're mad at Leo for dating like a 20-year-old or a 21-year-old. Now I gotta be transparent. When I was 27, 28, 29, 30, a little bit 30, on Tinder, I guess it's because of how many like girls of that demographic were on Tinder. Every girl I hooked up with was like 21 to 23. Every one of them. And 70% of them were married or in a relationship, which is kind of weird. A statistic that a lot of people don't actually realize. Keep in mind, Gothics, look, don't judge my ass. I was in a bad place. All right. And I stopped doing it kind of like that kind of trailed off. This one time a guy showed up at my house that was dating this one girl and he cried in my arms and it was real weird. So I stopped doing that. But yeah. So every girl I hung out with was in their early 20s. Like, because that's just who hung out with me. That's who showed up, you know? And I don't really see a problem with that. And there's this weird epidemic, and it's white women, damn it, Gothics. So how did they get so much power? Like, they are pretty much the arbiters of all that is offensive and all that is okay in society. For example, something about older white women, 30, 40, 50, they call men that are 30s, 35, that are successful, because what is attractive as a man? Having your shit together, being successful. Men usually financially mature by, on average, 32 years old. So why would you date a 22-year-old guy that ain't got nothing when you can date a 32-year-old guy that owns his own house, has multiple cars, and can take you anywhere you want to go? That's pretty obvious, right? Whereas a woman, if for men, women that are youthful, and gorgeous, that's pretty much what they find attractive. So obviously those two people, the 32-year-old dude that's got a lot of money and has got his shit together, will probably date the girl that's attractive, because that's kind of that's the two peaks right there, right? So they meet, and that's where they meet. And you have all these women, because I saw somebody do it online recently too, and I see it all the time. You have like 30, 40, 50-year-old women on Twitter calling like Leonardo DiCaprio a pedo because he's dating women that are like 22. A pedo. Keep in mind what a pedo is, right?
Right.
And it's like, now we're at a weird place where these women are claiming that women that are 22 years old can't consent, but 9-year-olds can consent to getting their boobs chopped off.
Yeah.
We're at this weird ass place. It's like, okay, so where do we draw the line? My thought process goes immediately to this. If you think women cannot give consent at 22 because they're too young, because what their justification is, women that are 22 are impressionable and naive. And that's why men that are in their 30s date them, because they can mold them and brainwash them.
Interesting.
So that's assuming that leads us to the conclusion that they can't consent. So if a woman that is 22 years old, 22 years old can't consent, or let's go even further to 18.
Yeah.
If you're 18 and you can't consent, then we need to raise the age of consent for women only to 30, 40, 50. Where should we stop? Because of that's because if that's your issue, is women that are 22 years old, you're a predator because you're in your 30s and dating a 22-year-old. That means we have to raise the age of consent. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a problem with it, right? But when you say that, when I'm like, well, we need to raise the age of consent, right? They're like, oh no, you should just not date them. And I'm like, okay, well, I also shouldn't eat ice cream fucking every night, but I would love to because it's delicious. You know? Yeah, cookies and cream with fucking Oreos mixed in and shit. Holy shit!
Man,
I need that every night. Like it's real dumb to me. I don't get it. What's your thoughts on?
I mean, I agree with you, but I would also say that consider like the mindset that these types of women are baked in, because they're essentially willing to accuse someone of something so heinous for something as of like what, jealousy, or you know what I mean? Like it's almost like the whole how the Me Too movement it devolved into this movement of I'm just going to falsely accuse men of things that they didn't do because I'm angry, and you accusing Leonardo DiCaprio of being a pedophile, like that is a pretty hefty accusation.
That's a big one. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
And it's all because no one wants to date me. And it's like, well, maybe if you didn't spend your entire 20s partying on yachts and shit. Now look, I gotta be fair. I'd do the same shit if I was a hot girl. It'd have been rough. Cause like, I don't think I really matured in my mind until I was like 28, 27. When my wife left, everything changed. I had to like go get my bills in my name and like handle everything from then on out.
Yeah.
You know, when I found out that I was capable of doing all that, I was like, oh, I can just do anything. So I started YouTube because I was like, I can just do this, I guess. And it worked. It just worked. Speaking of work, Phoenix Sage, along with his pink boy earlier, becomes a member at the royalty level. Holy shit balls. And also an orange boy. Snake it. Thank you so much. Dinus, I'm still in a dream. We will do Snake after GOTHIX leaves. I'm not going to take my shirt off in front of GOTHIX. Right, damn it. Thank you, Phoenix Sage. I love you. I appreciate you. Patrick T. Mary Antoinette was cool, but under 25 is an issue. They're plug and play. Wait, under 25 is an issue. They're plug and play. What does that mean, Patrick? What does that mean, Patrick? I don't know what that means. Plug and play? That sounds kind of sexy. But it also sounds like it could be like bad, like against the law. Right? I don't know. What it was. So you're 34, yeah?
4, yeah.
34. What was your 20s like? Did you have hot girl summer?
Well, I don't even know what that is.
Me neither. I just hear it sometimes.
No. Fun. Hot girl summer. That just sounds sweaty.
That's something juicy, yeah.
No, I mean my 20s, I think my party phase was like from 21 to 24, and I was partying a lot. Sometimes like 3 days a week, just going out drinking and just being a degenerate. And yeah. And then by 25, I was like, all right, now it's just time to start working and, build something out of my life.
Yeah, see, that wasn't me. Like, I was married.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like going to work every damn day and, helping my ex-wife through engineering school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was 26. Yes, I was 26, about to turn 27, and my ex-wife graduated from engineering school. And then she left immediately.
Oof.
And I was like, oh, shit, right? So my hot girl summer started. So I was like, well, I don't know what to do. So that's when I downloaded Tinder, and it was wild. I blacked out in this. I was at this club. I should have never went to. I went to this club because this blonde girl invited me. She was like 6'1". She was so hot. I was like, okay, I'm on my way, baby. And I get there, and it's like 6 of her like white friends, because it's just a bunch of white girls, and they're all attractive. And I'm the only guy that's like with them, and they're just feeding me well whiskey shots. Like all of them are holding them. They're like, ooh, well whiskey, and I'm trying to be a badass for some reason. And I'm drinking well whiskey, and it starts getting real bad, and I wake up in a parking garage.
Oh no.
I remember going upstairs kind of, and then I just woke up in a parking garage. Just dead.
Damn.
It was wild. And then I had to go to work. And I got to work, and I opened the door, and I ran to the trash can and threw up like my guts. And I kept throwing up like every hour. And I would stand up and like be like, hey, can I help you guys find anything? And they'd be like, no, we're just looking around. I'd be like, cool. And then I would just like fall over and be like, oh, like just keep throwing up. I keep my composure pretty damn good.
That's rough.
Oh, shit. I was going to ask you this question. Play the Metal Gear games. No regrets, Chaos Smash. Have you ever played Metal Gear?
I actually haven't.
What the fuck, GOTHIX?
Yeah, sorry about that, man.
This is the one question. This is the one question that you didn't answer correctly for me. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I feel like you'd like it. I don't know why, but personality vibe, I feel like you'd be like, damn, this is great. It's just like over the top and awesome. It's just a great freaking game, dude. Matthew Self, this curly hair version of Zoe's out on, it's kind of cute. Look, don't be doing this to my guest, Matthew.
I think he's talking about you though.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Yeah, well, I agree with that. I agree with that, Matthew. Thank you. What's up, dude? Appreciate you, dude. Appreciate you. You're so beautiful. Is there anything else you would like to add? Anything you like to shill? Is there any shows you're working on? Any appearance you're doing? Any cons you're going to?
Let's see. I have a documentary about myself coming out. And if you go to lore.tv or even just go to my Twitter page or my YouTube, you'll see the teaser trailer for it. And it pretty much is just a journey into me getting canceled from me being on Twitch, transitioning to YouTube, and just all of the nonsense that happened along the way. So that's going to be coming out hopefully soon. Aside from that, no, I don't really got anything else going on. Yeah, just chilling.
Let's take a gander at this real quick because I want to see this. Boo, 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 boo. Where is it at? Come here. Boom. This right here. Lore.
That's it. 30-second teaser. We don't have an official trailer yet, but you guys can sign up to get notified when it goes live.
Synopsis. Born in the Cape Verdean district of Providence, Rhode Island, a young black woman by the name of Vanessa Rosa uncharacteristically came to identify with the goth subculture as a teenager. So, real quick.
Yeah.
I want to know just in I guess in a quick way, if you'd like.
Sure.
I saw somebody in the chat said that too. They said post canceled GOTHIX. What did you got? I don't know about this. You got canceled? What happened?
Yeah. So I was working full time as a content creator on Twitch, playing video games. I did sketch comedy. I had a pretty significant following, and that's just what I did full time. And it started by me saying some opinions here and there that didn't align with the black streamers. But the nail in the coffin was when I said I was voting for Trump. So it was a combination of that and also the little Ariel criticism that I had, like, stop calling people racist for not wanting a black Ariel. And that was too much for a lot of people on Twitch, because Twitch is very, I think, very heavily influenced by like left-leaning ideologies. They're very with the whole fake inclusion and diversity. And so my audience was like, all right, bye. Unsubscribed. People would contact my sponsors. They were like, yo, why are you working with this self-hating racist? Like they were trying to basically end my career.
Right.
And yeah, so I took some time off from streaming, and then eventually I said, well, I have to get back online. This is how I make money. So eventually that's how I made it onto YouTube and grew some thick skin. But essentially, yeah, that's my story, but the doc goes more into detail about everything.
So how long ago did this happen?
This was, I think, towards the end of 2019, and it was around the start of 2020 when COVID and everything was happening that I started to slowly make my way back online.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so did they announce like Ariel as black back then?
Yeah, so it was just like an article, like it was like, oh, we've heard that they're going to be casting this person, and I'm like, this is freaking weird. But and regardless, because I know a lot of people are not going to agree with me on this topic. They don't see anything wrong with black Ariel or whatever. Fine, boo-boo, that's fine. But the issue is like just the animosity and vitriol that was surrounding that narrative, that if you have any criticism about this, you're a bad person and you should be exiled from society.
Interesting. So I didn't know this. So something not as similar happened to me, where now this is way stupider. I tweeted out that I don't know if you remembered, but the very first teaser picture or a trailer they released for it, and it shows like the Halle Berry or whatever her name is. It zooms in on her face, and she's like looking up, and that was the teaser trailer. I thought she kind of looked like Sid from Ice Age. And I thought it was funny. I was like, oh, she's kind of, so I tweeted that out. I was like, wow, the girl from Little Mermaid looks just like Sid from Ice Age. And I put them two together.
Yeah.
I just put them side by side. Mm-hmm. And I woke up the next day and it had like 15,000 likes or something crazy. And I was like, oh no. And some really large black, like celebrity or entertainer or content creator, like quote tweeted me and was pissed off. And oh my God, there was like 4,000 quote tweets and they were all posting pictures of me like shirtless, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you made fun of her and you look like this. And I'm like, I look good in that, but I'm confused. Like
yeah.
Weird. And they all kept calling me ugly. And I don't know what that's about. Like they were like, you ugly, bro. And I'm like, what? That's all. Like, so now look, I don't know if you're like part of like the culture, but like, is that like a thing? Like, the people just call each other ugly, and that's like a big deal?
Usually when people resort to calling someone names or insulting them, it's because they don't have anything else to say. Because there is no argument. You can, if someone is making an observation that this actress looks like Sid, or someone says, I don't like this movie, there's nothing to argue because that's just what the person sees. That's their opinion. So really, what are you pissed off about?
Yeah. And I thought it was weird. It's just, there was like 3,000 quote tweets, and I guarantee you 85% of them said, you ugly, bro. Or, wow, you ugly.
And
they said my hairline was bad.
I mean, it looks pretty good.
It looks normal. Like, I was so confused.
Good.
I was like, what the hell's going on? Why you call me ugly? And I didn't mind. Like, I don't mind. Like, I don't care what people call me shit. People were so mad. They were so mad. They started finding like information out about my parents and posting their address, and then finding pictures of my parents and trying to post pictures of my parents and shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, damn.
It's kind of like what we were talking about earlier. It's like we have a culture of people that have never learned how to build emotional resilience, and they're emotionally unstable, and they think if they can't physically reach you, they're going to do something in a different way to make sure that they hold you accountable in some bizarre fantasy land.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. It didn't make any sense to me at all. But yeah, that's life, I guess. I guess life. I should not have attacked the beautiful Little Mermaid.
No, you should. You should do it more.
No, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I thought, like, if there's just pictures of her, right? Like, I think she's an attractive woman. I don't, like, it's just that angle. Look, she looked kind of like Sid from Ice Age, and I was like, oh, and I thought it was a funny dude. They were so mad about that shit.
Yeah. No, I saw that meme and I have shared it. Like, I'm not on Twitter, but I laughed at that meme because that still shot, it reminded me of Sid.
It did.
So.
And Sid's kind of cool. I like John Leguizamo.
Cool.
Yeah. No, then people were saying that I was calling her like mentally challenged because Sid is mentally challenged in the movie. And I'm like, yeah, now you reaching.
Yeah. Now they're just making stuff up.
I just thought here's two for the goon, but thank you so much. I appreciate you. Grifty, I love you. I appreciate you, dude. I really appreciate the conversation we had. It was probably one of the better ones I've had, I think, ever.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, dude, it's fun.
That's good. I'm glad. I hope people in the chat didn't find me entirely insufferable, and if they did, I don't know, go pray about it. But
no, when I announced the stream, there was a couple people that were like, oh, dude, I can't believe you'd invite her on, and I'm like, what the fuck? What's wrong with her?
What's wrong with me? I think I'm okay.
After 2 hours, you seem fine. The only discerning difference between you and me is that you're religious and I'm not. That's kind of the only difference. You know, that's about it. I was like, is it really because you're religious? Is that it? That's the whole thing. Shit. God, people are crazy. Dude, I don't understand it. But I'm very I'm thankful that you came on. I did email you a while back, but then I was like, I'll just I asked who was it? Jay, Drunk 3. You know him?
Yeah.
I was like, how'd you get GOTHIX on your show, man? And he's like, oh, I just tweeted at her. And I was like, that's what I'm going to do. And then it was like a day later. And I was like, I don't think she saw this. Or maybe she just don't. Maybe I'm a redneck man. Maybe I don't know what it is. And then you were like, yeah, dude. I was like, oh, sweet. Cool. Hell yeah. Thank God, man.
It worked.
Rock on. Well, I'm glad you stopped by. I appreciate you spending a couple hours with me talking about real shit.
Yeah, man.
I hope people watch this replay back. There'll be a bunch of clips on my other channel from this, probably 4 or 5.
Cool. I'm gonna steal them.
So take them, nurture them, grow them into little chicks when they hatch, when they hit the algorithm, and then I get canceled. But yeah, I appreciate it. You are free to leave now. I gotta do the thing where I take off my shirt and for all the women that are left over in the chat. So
okay, I need to go and close my eyes because my husband's in the other room. Thank you for inviting me. I had a blast talking to you. Hope everyone in the chat has a great night. Goodbye.
Thank you, GOTHIX. Appreciate you. What a beautiful woman. I appreciate her. She's cool. Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna let her go because I know she don't want to see me shirtless. GOTHIX is kick ass. I thought that she was going to be spicy or something. She was pretty just intelligent and laid back and knew what the hell she's talking about. You know, was there a few things that she might have said that I probably don't, you know, yeah, of course, you know, but there's nothing wrong with that. I know this day and age, when you disagree, it's supposed to be some kind of fight and you're supposed to swear people off and threaten their life. I'm not like that. I've never been like that. And I never will be like that. But yeah, she's cool. I enjoyed her a lot. I hope she comes back on. We are 130 likes till goal, guys. We are going to do Naked Snake right now. Naked Snake right now. Okay. I'm glad you finally had an intelligent person. Listen here, Rod. You listen to me, Rod, right now, damn you. Listen. It's just because she's a woman and she streams on Twitch. That's the only reason you like her. All right? That's your requirements, Rod, for liking a woman. Does she stream on Twitch? Yes. Then you're good. You're like, all right, smash. We'll smash. And then if she's Asian, you're like, fuck, I do that. 100. Let's smash. Does she play Apex? 10 times out of 10 smash. That's like the trifecta. It's like the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost for Rod. Asian, she plays Apex, she Twitch streamer. Rod's like, bro, I'll die for you. Nina, what's up, baby? How you doing, girl? How you doing? I'm gonna have to watch the replay. It was one of the best conversations I've ever had. It was real spicy, real good, real concise, real fun to talk about. Shut up, you bitch. Hey, what's up, Sam? I just threw Camelot all the time, but I tune in because he's real. Thank you, Cerebus. Love you. Appreciate you. Rod without Apex. It's like not even living. All right, boys. Hey, Bossy, what's up? Boosie's in here. I'm gonna do Next Snake for the bitches. I love you guys. We hit Naked Snake for the 147th stream in a row. Can you believe that shit? I hope you stay for Naked Snake, Nina. Please. Thank you. Thank you, Chris Cola. I love you. Man, I'm getting sniffly. When you fight, you should take off your shirt. No, Mitchell. I'm going to get my ass kicked. Dude, you never take off your shirt in the midst of the fight. Never. Because you're going to get your ass kicked while you're taking your shirt off. Too tired for it all now. Why are you so tired, Rod? You working a lot, baby? I see you playing drums. That's good. Cocaine sniffing. I have the sniffles, atheist. I'm getting over the death. Okay? Getting over the sickness. All right, boys. It's time for Naked Snake, but we are 3:30 from Fight Milk. Got about 10, 15 minutes. Too much coke. Damn it, Nina. You know what? Listen, Nina. I'm from Alabama. We don't do coke here. We do meth. Great advice. Thank you, Wicked Virtue. This is for Wicked Virtue and Nina, obviously. No, I'm just kidding. This is for the Phoenix Sage, Cassius Cleo, and Ferrari Red Trent Westbrook, and Johan Naxos. We had let me shout out the boys in the chat real quick. Holy Ozone, Billy Hatcher, Dustman, Patrick T, Billy Hatcher, Slang Nanners. 7 gold boys. We were 3 gold boys away from the gold ass knot. Cassius Cleo, Samuel the Infamous, Karis, my boy, Phoenix Sage, and Matthew Self. 5 orange boys. We made it to an orange ass knot. Hell yeah. The pink boys today. Phoenix Sage. Damn, he's all over the place. Phoenix Sage, my boy. John Naxos and Cassius Cleo. 2 pinks from Pink Ass Knot. The red boy was Trent Westbrook. Thank you so much. We almost hit the Fight Milk, but we hit the Naked Snake. Let's do it. It's time, boy. You guys ready for this? I hope you guys are ready for Naked Snake. Love you, Chris Rod. By the way, new video tomorrow. Very spicy. Very spicy. Very spicy, boys. Y'all ready? Here we go, boys. You get the full version today. Thanks to Wicked Virtue. I love you for being here. Nina, I love you. Most of all, GOTHIX, thank you. Make sure you guys subscribe to Wicked Virtue. She's almost to 1,000, by the way.
What a thrill with darkness and silence through the night. What a thrill. I'm searching.
It's that time again, boys. Lord Narco Wookie. Nina. Here we go, boys.
But you're so supreme.
Yes, I'm hairy right now.
Not
sorry.
For honor, but for you.
Snake eater in my time. There be nobody else. Cry, it's the way I fly to you. I'm still in a dream, snake eater.
Someday we'll go to the rain. Someday you feel on a tree frog. It's a trial to survive. For the day
You believe this shit?
give my life, not for honor, but for you.
In my time, there be nobody else. You cry, it's the way I fly to you.
dream. Snake eater. Can you believe it, boys? We made it again. We never miss it. Get on it, doggone it. Thank you guys so much. Hell yeah. CAMELCAST 24 in the books. Amazing show with my boys. Samantha, I love you. I appreciate you so much. We got close to Fight Milk. Under 300. No cigar, but the naked snake lives on. Like he always will. In our minds. In our hearts. You should send everyone to Brittany's stream. Brittany Venti does not have raid privileges turned on, so I cannot raid her. Because I have tried. How many times is the naked snake in a row? 147. 147. Thank you, by the way, to the Twisted Tragedy. I love you, baby. And Samantha Palmer, I love you, baby. Thank you. I know there's Lord Narco Wookie as well. Saying as well up in this bitch. I appreciate you so much. You're goated as hell. I will trim my beard soon. It's getting out of control. My beard is getting wild, so I will trim it. I hope you guys like the Oblivion going on in the background. My Xbox unit exploded, so I put a new unit in it. It's a 360. I found this TV in my garage in the storage. It's very small, as you can tell. It's not as big as the old one. Got everything on it. So now I can put 360 games on it. So I need to buy the Metal Gear Solid collection so I can put MGS3 on there. Because that's what I want to be on there. I'm going to be on it. Naked Ribs. Stripper dollars. Thank you, saying I love you. I appreciate you. I have a race this weekend, guys. My race this weekend is in Tri-County, North Carolina. That's not the name of the city. It's the name of the racetrack. If you search Tri-County, North Carolina, you'll see it. If you want to show up, you can hang out, watch me race. There's going to be a full field. It's going to be a lot of cars. It's going to be packed. So hopefully we can get a top 10. We did get a top 5 last week, but there was less cars because everybody wrecked. And I did not. So I survived. So make sure you're on that. By the way, we're 2 likes from 700, 100 from 800. Do you have any races in New York? No. Virginia, Illinois, North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama. Those are where all the races are. Thank you, Shogun. I love you. Appreciate you, Cap Cubs. Thank you, baby. Love you. Drex is bringing a special guest. Are you racing anywhere close to Pennsylvania? Not that I know of. Probably Illinois will be the closest to there or Virginia. Where in Virginia? There's like 4 tracks in Virginia. If you guys join my locals, okay, you join my locals, you will see my schedule for my racing. You'll see my racing. I put all my racing footage on locals exclusively. So join that. How are the brakes? They failed last week. My brakes failed in the last race, but it's I still was able to nurse it home. This week, I have an entirely new brake system. I have fans that are attached to my brakes. I have like everything attached to my spindles. It will not overheat this time. I also have extremely over-the-top racing, like custom brake fluid that has a 200-degree higher boiling point. Wicked Virtue, my girl over here be slinging on me. Be slinging. Damn. I appreciate you. If only she lived closer to me, there'd be some real life slinging, if you know what I'm saying. Thank you, baby. I love you. Get the hell on it, doggone it. A couple of beers. What's up, baby? How you doing? I'm going to take this moment just for a little bit to talk to the chat. I will have a stream Thursday. That is a pre-race hype stream. I know no one will probably join, but I do need to get it in there because I've been meaning to stream like I used to, where I just talk to the chat. And I miss my boys. I see all of you in the chat all the time, and I love you, and I'll need to talk to you some more. Because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here, right? So, Carlos, you a bitch. You ever race Skagit in Washington? I have not. Washington's far away, man. I'm in Alabama. Washington's like another country, basically, for me, man. Eli Clark, you a bitch. Twisted Tragedy said, Tri-County is only an hour away from me, but I have to work this weekend. I'm near Charlotte. You have a race there at some point. I will race at Charlotte, but you should take off work and come see me. You should be a real friend and come see. Please stop being a bitch. I love you. Get on it, dog on it. New video tomorrow.
New video tomorrow. Can be very spicy. Do not miss the video tomorrow. Join me on Locals, guys. Join me on Locals. If you want to see all my racing footage, you'll see it. Thank you, Samantha, for coming to my last race, by the way. She says she wished to go that. I got to meet her whole family. They were awesome. Thank you, Samantha. I love you. Appreciate you. We are 90 likes from 800, which was the overall goal tonight, which is really good. We did a really good job today. Thanks to GOTHIX. You can tell, right, when you're having a good conversation with somebody in a podcast, you can see the viewership climbing. And it just never goes down. It keeps going up. And that GOTHIX has that capability because she's very intelligent and she's able to talk and have a good time. And I know she's low energy, man. Like, it's late. You know, she's been working all day and she still was able to kick some ass. So I really appreciate that. Slinging nanners. Camelot's not a woman. I don't care what they say. Oh my God. It flows as you go on. It flows as you all go on. Thank you, Phoenix. And thank you, Phoenix, so much for all your support tonight. Amazing. Hey, Chad Amsler. How you doing, buddy? I love you, dude. And Resident Evil fan said, two of my favorite YouTubers. Love you, Holy Ozone. A lot of great people in here today. I thank you so much. We hit a rainbow night, an orange ass night, almost a gold boy night, almost a pink night, too. Thank you guys so much. A lot of insane supporters today. I'm so thankful to have you boys on my side. Tomorrow, big video coming out. I filmed like 15 videos, so you're going to see it. You're going to see them tomorrow. Well, one of them. I'll have one coming out every other day. It's been really hard to keep up. I've been having to repair things on my house, bogus code violations. I've been working on that, fixing my car, racing. Last week, the race was 16 hours away. So it was just really rough, man. It was really rough. It was like 3 races in one to get there. So it was rough. Sonia says, if you consider this content, consider becoming a member of the channel. Don't forget to like the stream and subscribe. Thank you so much. I love you. Thank you. Appreciate you. Sonia's always looking out for me financially. I love you. She's always got my back financially. She's just too good to me, my way. She's just too good to me, boys. Bama has built-in codes. Oh, Scallop. Yeah, and we also have internet, you bitch. Damn, Matt himself became a Localist member for a year. Holy shit, dude. Thank you. You wild boy. You wild as hell. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Did I pay you your Cody? Bossy, you give me the money now. You give it now, right now. All of you. There needs to be a pink boy per person in here. That'll pay for my race season. There you go. Get on it, doggone. I'll wait patiently. What's it like to have simps? If it wasn't for my simps, Ham Banana, I would have no one. Like you. You're my simp, Ham Banana. I love you. Tonight, you. No, Ham Banana, don't, please. No spaghetti, please. Oh, man. Okay, boys. I love you. Tonight, we are going to raid Side Scrollers. I don't know if you know who Side Scrollers is, but it's a podcast that had DSP on very, very recently. So we're going to raid him tonight. And I've been watching them a lot lately. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Patrick T, I paid to get ignored. But I never ignore you. I always talk to you, baby. My friend might race Cody Ware's car. Who's your friend? Poor Cody Ware. All he had to do was not choke a bitch, and he choked a bitch. God. All you got to do is not choke a bitch. And what did Cody Ware do? He choked a bitch. God, Cody Ware, you have one job. Don't choke bitches. I only know words like ball and good. Oh, my God. Oh. Only know words like ball and good. And rape. Oh my God. Garrett Smithley. Hey, I know that guy. Stuttering Craig. Yes. Love you, Monkey Man. Appreciate you for all your support, guys. Amazing support today. Dude, this is a great show. It's a great show. It's been a lot of fun, dude. It'll be even more fun when we hit 800 likes. 80 away. Get on it, duck on it. Naked Snake. I want you to hit the like button for Colonel and Otacon and even Meryl. Get on it, doggone it. Have a good night, Phoenix. Love you, dude. Appreciate you, baby. The last one of the night is Patrick T. Give him some love. Thank you, Patrick T. He's goated. He's beautiful. Ton of super chats from Patrick T. Too much, man. You don't have to do that. I'm thankful for you, baby. And of course, the top dog day, Mr. Trent Westbrook. Been the top dog for the last couple streams. Appreciate you so much, dude. You're goated as hell. Thank you. Greg McNeely, what's up, dude? How you doing, dude? Lick the love button. Lick the love button. We're going to go ahead and raid my boy, Stuttering Craig. Hope you guys enjoy his show. He's going over the creepy ass Dalai Lama that made out with the little kid. Oh, God. What the hell was wrong with the Dalai Lama? What was he thinking? What was he thinking? What the fuck? Damn, Sonia. What? Sonia? I'm trying to get off. I'm trying to log off. Oh my God. Damn, son. Woo. Thank you so much. I love you. She got us one pink boy away from a pink ass night on a Monday. She got us close. Thank you, Sonia. I love you. I appreciate you. She's the original OG, by the way. The original. Well, you were the orange girl, weren't you? That's what I called you for like years. The orange girl. She's up great. Look at her profile picture. God damn. Anyways, love you, Sonia. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I love you. You're getting them off now. Don't do it. Chris, calm your tits, bitch. You knew what I was trying to say. You perv. You perv. Tomorrow, guys, new video. It'll come out at noon. Or I'll probably put it out at 2. And my last video got like banned. It got 0 views after like 4 hours. Like you can look at the analytics and it went like this to 0 and never got another view. Don't know what the hell happened there. So whatever. On to the next one. Make sure you share it. It's going to be spicy. And then we got some real fun videos coming out. So they're all experimental. It's for fun. Trying to just have some fun. And of course, keep the regular scheduled programming. Freaking pulling hairs on my beard. Thank you so much, Sonia. I love you. Let's raid Stuttering Craig. Let me make sure he's still on before I do that. Yeah, he's on. All right. Nigga Drexler on. Jump on. It's Monday. And if he wants me to come on, I'll come on. I ain't got nothing to do. Thank you, Sonia. She's the last one of the night with a big old delicious pink ass. Love you, Sonia. I appreciate you. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And then Wednesday, we have Chrissy Mayer coming on. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll see you guys Wednesday with Chrissy. And then Thursday, I'll have a race hop stream before I leave for my race. So get on it, doggone it. I'll see you guys later. Let's go see Stuttering Craig. Get the hell on it. Doggone it.